Every football player who attends this university makes a choice, expresses a willingness to be measured against a certain standard. A desire to join more than a century of history. 11 national championships, 7 Heisman Trophy winners. A history that sets them apart.
One thing that we want more than anything else, and that's respect.
We're going to fight. What do you say, man?
Just 19 months ago, Notre Dame rose to the brink of another national championship in a campaign that revived that familiar tradition of excellence and the unique brand of glory players in this program have felt.
And they stay perfect at 9-0.
Notre Dame #1 and unbeaten.
We're going with Southeast.
He reveled in that glory 2 seasons ago.
Beautiful throw by Golson. Ball is caught.
Golson rolls out.
Goodbye, good night, he's in.
Now Everett Golson returns to recapture it and prove once again he's worthy of the standard that comes with wearing this jersey. A standard that every member of this team knows they are held to. A standard they chose to be measured against. For the Fighting Irish, every season is an opportunity to demonstrate that adhering to a code is worth the sacrifice and a chance to write the next chapter in one of college sports' most storied tales.
Picture success. Believe it will come to you. You get what you deserve.
The 238th straight sellout at Notre Dame Stadium. Nothing new there, but plenty else is around here. For the first time in 84 seasons, the Irish will play today on a brand new turf field. And that's where Notre Dame head coach Brian Kelly hopes to speed up his offense with the return of Everett Golson, who plays a game for the first time in 600 days. Challenge a Rice football team led by head coach David Bailiff, whose Owls come off a 10-4 season and a conference championship. Notre Dame and Rice to kick off their 2014 season.
And we welcome you to yet another season of Notre Dame football on NBC, but it has been anything but a smooth start for the Irish. An investigation which now involves 5 Notre Dame players finally wrapped up at the end of the week. All of those players have been removed from football-related activities until a university honor code committee can sort things out. Add to that, there are 2 brand new coordinators for head coach Brian Kelly, and you get the feeling that there are a lot more questions than answers concerning the 2014 Irish, at least at the start of the season. We'll have the kickoff for you coming up in just a few minutes. Notre Dame and Rice, but first we sit it down to Liam McHugh on the field for the U.S. Bank NBC Sports Report.
Thanks, Dan. Alongside Doug Flutie and Hines Ward. Guys, Dan mentioned the 5 players who are being held out. 4 of them are on the defensive side, but let's talk about the offense. Everett Golson makes his return, but he's not going to have DeVaris Daniel, who had 49 catches last year. All of the other returning Notre Dame wide receivers combined for 44 catches last year. So, Hines, who needs to step up?
Well, I believe that the big tight end, Ben Koyak, is going to have a huge year this season, just because he's a nice security blanket for Everett Golson. And he's a big target with a huge catch radius. And, Doug, especially down in the red zone, you're going to your big fella.
He's a big fella at 6'5", but so is Corey Robinson at 6'5" on the outside. I think Corey Robinson may wind up being a go-to receiver over the next few years for Everett Golson. He's got that big catch radius as well. He did injure his thumb. He's learned to play more physical, though, and he has the ability to be physical with people, push him around, go up high, and high point the ball.
So on offense, Golson, he's looking for a playmaker, but as he looks across the line, who's the one guy he has to watch out for?
It's Christian Covington. This guy he wreaks havoc on the football field. Look at what he did last year versus Texas A&M against the first rounder, Jake Matthews. Just throws him out of the way, and tackle Johnny Football. So this kid, he can play with the big boys.
Yeah, he could play anywhere, and he's going to need to do that today. He's going to have to cause a turnover or 2 in the backfield for Rice to have a chance.
Notre Dame's schedule widely considered one of the 5 toughest in the country. It begins today at home against Conference USA champion Rice. Kickoff is coming up from South Bend.
This has been the U.S. Bank NBC Sports Report. U.S. Bank, all of us serving you. For live reports from the sidelines throughout today's game, follow Catherine Tappan on Twitter at ND on NBC.
This season, our motto is you don't rise to the occasion, you sink to the level of preparation. All about the work before that no one sees.
I've definitely put in a lot of hard work to get here.
Here we go.
We're going to make sure that we do the things that are hard, do the little things right, and we believe with that, you're going to see the success.
We are the Fighting Irish. We are indeed.
Indeed.
We are indeed.
And welcome to Notre Dame Stadium, where the Rice Owls get set to visit the 17th ranked Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish getting ready to come out of the tunnel for the first time in 2014. An impressive season for Rice at 10-4. Notre Dame coming off the 9-4 season, and for the first time this season, here come the Irish. Kelly now in his 5th year at the Notre Dame helm, faced with all kinds of challenges earlier in this season, as we discussed in the pregame show, and we'll continue to discuss in the game today. He does have his quarterback, Everett Golson, back, but it's been more than a year and a half since Golson played in a real game. In the meantime, Rice in the midst of their best stretch of football in some 60 years. Normally when you hear Rice football, it doesn't conjure up juggernaut teams of the past, but this has been a very impressive run for the Owls as their 4 team captains come out onto the field. And let's check in with the newest member of our Notre Dame football crew on NBC. Welcome to Catherine Tappan. Catherine.
Dan, thank you. I'm here with Irish head coach Brian Kelly. Coach, Everett Golson makes his return to the lineup today. You told us he needs to carry this football team this season. What do you expect today?
Well, he's our veteran on offense as a playmaker, so I think he's got to get us off to a good start, settle us down a little bit. We got a lot of young guys on both sides of the ball, so I think it's important that we get him going, and I think he sets the tone for our entire football team today.
You've lost a number of significant players in the last few weeks. How has your team responded?
Very well. I mean, they've kept a great attitude about it. Certainly they missed their teammates, but they know they've got work to do, and they're excited about opening up here at the stadium.
A lot of new faces on both sides of the ball this season. What do you want the 2014 Notre Dame football team to look like?
Well, I think it's getting off to a good start today, playing fast, playing aggressive, and, you know, staying away from the mistakes that obviously plague you from being a good football team. So today's a good start for it. It's going to be a process for us, but we want them to get out there and play fast and play aggressive.
Coach, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Catherine.
Dan?
Thank you, Catherine. We welcome Mike Mayock to the booth now. Mike, you ready to get another season underway here?
Let's do it, man.
All right, the field here around Notre Dame, the theme is new. You've got a new turf field behind you, and we're actually going to see some really new styles on that field as well.
I got to warn you, it's not your father's Notre Dame, okay? It's a brand new look. It starts on defense. They hired Brian Van Gorder. Now, remember, the last 4 years, kind of conservative, bend but don't break. Now it's all about attack and penetration. On offense, hey, it's about pushing tempo and being aggressive. And I think with Everett Golson, Brian Kelly has the perfect dynamic quarterback to run his system. Great feet. He's got a big arm. They're looking for 90 snaps today, and this kid is capable of taking a college football game and turning it into basketball on grass.
Well, we've alluded to the players who will not be playing today because of academic reasons, but it was a huge blow for Notre Dame. We were at the practice on Thursday when Austin Collinsworth, one of 4 team captains just made, the safety and the quarterback of that defensive secondary, injured a knee and now is out for the game, and who knows how much longer.
Look, it's a double hit for this team. Number one, they lose their quarterback on defense who sets them up, makes all the checks and changes. And number two, it happened late Thursday at practice. Elijah Shoemate got no reps with the first team, and you're a little concerned about whether or not you can hold up on the back end.
You said this isn't your father's football team on Notre Dame side. Really, the same could be true for Rice. This has really been an impressive run for the Owls and Coach David Bailiff.
17-9 the last 2 seasons. One of the best kept secrets in college football, and offensively, man, are they diverse. They run everything. Puts a lot on the quarterback, and they've got a new quarterback this year in Dreyfus Jackson. He's got 1 career start, but that was at home. Today, in front of 80,000 people at Notre Dame Stadium, how he reacts is going to be huge for their offense. And I think finally Luke Turner, there's an alert anytime number 35 shows up on the field. He's the Wildcat, he's a tailback, he's a fullback, he's a punter. Dan, he completed 3 passes last year. All 3 went for touchdowns.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good percentage. So here we go to start the Notre Dame season. The openers for both Rice and the Fighting Irish. 80,000 pumped up as the Irish have won the toss and will receive. Head coach Brian Kelly on one sideline, and there is Bailiff, who has orchestrated this impressive run for Rice. This is the 5th meeting between the two schools. They first met back in 1915, and the latest in 1988, as James Hairston, who handled the kickoff duties for LSU before transferring to Rice because he wanted a shot at kicking field goals, will get things going for the Owls. Back deep for the Irish, Amir Carlisle. Stands back at near the goal line. And here we go from South Bend. A driving low kick that is fielded by Carlisle about the 1. Across the 25 and 30, and a good return for Carlisle. Brought down by the kicker, but not before he gets all the way up to the 37-yard line. So he has waited a long time for this moment. After missing the entire season last year, serving an academic suspension, and of course leading the way as the Irish had that perfect unbeaten regular season before being beaten by Alabama in the BCS title game. So Golson is back for the first time in 600 days. And you have to wonder how emotional this moment is for him, Mike.
Yeah, get him going quickly. Move the pocket. Get him comfortable early.
Flanked by Ken McDaniel, and he'll go to the air early. On the far side, it is complete to Will Fuller. And Fuller really doesn't get much of the gain, if any. So Golson is back on the offense as we take a look at the Irish. Backs and receivers. Chris Brown filling in for Daniels, who is out. He'll be key. And then you've got a whole new left side there as the left tackle and left guard have gone on to the NFL. And this is the give to Cam McDaniel, who will be a part of the rotating running backs that Brian Kelly told us about yesterday. Cam McDaniel, the starter, as the leading returning rusher for Notre Dame, but we're going to see a lot of the young guys. Sophomore Greg Bryant and Tarian Folston as well.
Yeah, he's the steady guy at tailback. He was elected captain by his teammates. When they need pass protection, short yardage, he's as good as there is in the country, but it's those young guys you referenced, Folston and Bryant, that people are excited to see.
So Golson faced with his first 3rd and long, and they give it to McDaniel, and he is going nowhere. In fact, is stopped for a loss, and that'll bring up 4th and long in the punting unit as Brian Nordstrom and Jalen Finner combined to put McDaniel for a loss of 5.
Yeah, Nordstrom is a former, right up here on the left side, walk-on. Does a nice job not losing contain, forces the running back to bump it out wide, and that's a big defensive stop right there for Rice. 3 and out.
So it'll be the first punt of the season for Kyle Brinza, the do-it-all kicker for Notre Dame. Kicks off, kicks field goals, and is an excellent punter as well. Bryce Callahan calling for the fair catch just outside the 25-yard line, and that is where the Rice Owls will begin their first series of the year. And there is Dreyfus Jackson, who has waited a long time for this moment. This is just his 2nd career start, but he has waited patiently the last 3 years for this to be his team, his moment, and his time.
Yeah, and I enjoyed sitting down with him the other day, Dan. You know what he's got? It's immediately apparent he's got a chip on his shoulder, and I like that. He likes the fact that people don't think he can throw the ball. And when I asked him about the perception of Rice not being a big-time program, he said, yeah, I want people to understand we're not just an academic school or a baseball school.
Jawan Davis is the running back behind Dreyfus Jackson. Very quick and elusive. And they fake to him. Jackson wheels to his left, and his first pass is complete to Robbie Wells, the tight end, as we take a look at the Owl offense engineered by Dreyfus Jackson. Backs and receivers. Wells is in for the injured tight end Connor Sella, who is out. They also have injuries up front that they are dealing with. Simonette gets his very first career start, a former walk-on at center. And that is how the Rice Owls line up on offense. Opening series just underway here in South Bend. And Jawan Davis
gets the carry again, and that'll bring up 3rd and 10.
Yeah, I thought Juwan Davis had a little something there. He got tripped over his own tight end, Robbie Wells. If not, I think he'd have run for a first down.
So it's 3rd and 8.
And this is where Jordan Taylor, their all-conference wide receiver, usually comes into play, but he's missing today with a foot injury. It's a big loss for Rice.
Play clock down to 3. And they get it, and going nowhere is Derek Dillard. Joe Schmidt, who has worked his way into the starting lineup on defense for Notre Dame. Former walk-on, a part of the stop there.
Yeah, I thought Sheldon Day, when healthy, is their best defensive lineman last year and this year. Look at the movement. We talk about Van Gorder, penetration and quickness. Sheldon Day fits that perfectly. He forced the play, and Schmidt cleaned it up.
So on 4th and long, Rice forced to punt in their opening series. And back deep for Notre Dame is Cody Riggs, transfer from Florida, who always wanted to be a punt returner there. He's going to get his shot here in his first game with Notre Dame. He's driven back inside of his own 20, and here comes Riggs, who's going to be a big part of that defense without Austin Collinsworth. 52-yard punt, 23-yard return for Cody Riggs in his debut for Notre Dame. No score, just getting things going in the 2014 season for Notre Dame and Rice. Notre Dame football is being brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Experience truly great engineering today at your authorized dealer. By Comcast Business, built for business. And by Sears, performance starts here. There's the time-lapse photography of the new turf field being put in after playing on grass since 1930, the first time in 84 seasons. The Irish not playing on natural grass. Tarian Folston is in the backfield now as Notre Dame begins this next series, and Folston takes it along the left side, looking for some blocks, close to midfield, and a decent gain for Folston of 6 on his first carry of the year.
That's who this kid is. I made the comment to several of the coaching staff that I think he's got an innate feel for the game as a runner. You see that bounce? You kind of wake up in the morning with that, or you don't. You have that feel, and I think Folston's one of those guys.
And Golson almost wrapped up, but that's what he does best. He is elusive, and he's able to throw it away and save the big loss.
Yeah, really nice job staying at home that time by their linebacker, James Radcliffe. Now, Golston's athletic enough to get away from it, but the integrity of the play is shot at that point, and Golson does a nice job just getting rid of the football, but good discipline staying home on the backside.
One of the things that Golson improved on was his strength. He was about 188 pounds after he left the school, comes in at about 200, although he says he's lost a little bit in the early season workouts, but faced with another 3rd and 4 here at midfield. Nothing going right. Tries to run it out, and that'll bring up 4th down. Alex Lyons running Golson out of bounds.
Nice job by Alex Lyons, who was probably one of the most highly recruited players at Rice. Turned down a scholarship offer from an SEC school, Arkansas. Highly rated linebacker. He can really run, and to track down Golson, you've got to be able to run.
So Notre Dame forced to punt once again on 4th and 4. And back deep will be Bryce Callahan as the Irish look to pin Rice back deep. High hanging punt by Brinza. Lands at the 1, and they just can't get it down deep in Rice territory. Well, let's get you a little bit more familiar with Rice University. Very small, second smallest FBS school as far as under and graduate enrollment. John Heisman was the Rice head football coach. Of course, the Heisman Trophy named after him. Rice Stadium hosted a Super Bowl between the Vikings and Dolphins. They're the Conference USA champions, and they do it in the classroom as well.
large percentage graduate. One national title, though, mostly known for baseball around the athletic circles, but Rice football team doing all they can to change that perception. So Rice in another series here, the 20. And stop right at the line of scrimmage is Jawan Davis as the Owls try to make up for Charles Ross, who racked up more than 2,000 yards on the ground for Rice the last 2 seasons. And Jawan Davis is one of those guys that think they can do it.
Yeah, Jawan Davis is one of those quicker than fast guys, but you're right. I think they lose. They kind of, the loss of the 235-pound Ross means more than people think.
2nd and 10. Jackson with time, incomplete. As he wanted Robbie Wells, unable to hang on. That'll bring up 3rd down and 10. We mentioned Wells in for the injured tight end Connor Sella, who's out with a fractured rib. Suffered it in the final scrimmage of camp.
Yeah, and Sella was a guy that could kind of be in line. He could be an H-back or a fullback. He was an important part of their offense, Dan.
So Jackson faced with his own 3rd and long.
Showing pressure.
And the hold and the give to Dillard. And Dillard is short of the 1st down. He'll bring a 4th down. And Jalen Smith, who was the first freshman in some 18 years to start at linebacker for Notre Dame last season. They're expecting another huge season for Jalen.
We've talked about Brian Van Gorder a little bit earlier, and that was an NFL-style blitz on 3rd down. They were showing 7 or 8 people. They dropped out. They brought 4, and the 4th guy was a true freshman safety coming from about 7 or 8 yards, Drew Tranquil. So, and big difference philosophically for Notre Dame this year on the defensive side of the ball.
So another punt for James Ferriman and another chance for special teams, which have not been the highlight of Notre Dame teams in recent years. And Cody Riggs, who had a great return just a few moments ago, with another one into Rice territory at the 47.
Yeah, John Turner did a nice job not committing a push in the back. He held off at the last minute, and Cody Riggs made the first guy miss.
That is a 30-yard return for Cody Riggs. Key addition, at least so far for the Irish. We're going to set up an Owl territory on the next series when we come back. Time now for the Mercedes-Benz top performances. Last time these 2 teams met, 1988. Rocket Ishmael had an amazing day. 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns. First a 78-yarder, then late in the game an 83-yarder, leading the Irish to a 54-11 win on their way to a national championship season. Their last, but Rice made history on that day too. And linebacker Billy Stone returned a blocked extra point all the way for 2 points. That's the first time a team scored by returning a failed conversion in NCAA Division I history. Our Mercedes-Benz top performances. Bailiff head coach for Rice, now in his 8th season, and his defense faced with its worst field position of the game as Notre Dame sets up at the 47. And this is Greg Bryant. And Bryant flashing some of that talent. Had just a few carries in the first few games of the season last year before he had knee surgery in October and was done for the rest of the year.
Yeah, if you talk to most of the people in the Notre Dame program, they think he and Folston are both big-time recruits, could play anywhere in the country. And the key word we hear all the time about this kid is explosion. Sticks his foot in the ground, and it's special.
2nd down and 5. Golson comes out of it, gets to the 40 and no further for maybe a couple. And that'll bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, that was a planned quarterback run. Remember, this year is supposed to be about pushing the tempo, about a mobile quarterback. So far, Notre Dame have shown none of that. They're taking their time at the line of scrimmage. That was the first planned quarterback run.
And frankly, that was something that Brian Kelly was not able to do with Tommy Rees, the quarterback last year. That had to take a year hiatus as Golson returned to the team after the academic suspension. So this is more the type of offense that Brian Kelly has yearned to run. On 3rd and 3, play action. Nice touch pass to Golson, and for the 1st down, it's Ben Koyak, the big tight end, brought down by Julius White. But the latest in succession of a long list of outstanding tight ends. They expect Koyak to fit that mold.
Yeah, that was a full blitz and a bust defensively by Rice. Koyak slid into the flat. Our pregame show, Doug Flutie and Hines Ward were talking about the significance of Ben Koyak, and I agree. I think he's going to be another in the long line of Notre Dame great tight ends.
So 1st and 10. And this is once again Greg Bryant for another good game. Bryant, a sophomore from Delray Beach, Florida, with a gain of 7. We just saw Koyak's first catch, and look who is on hand watching now with the Cincinnati Bengals, Tyler Eifert, who is so acrobatic and so good at going up out of traffic and hauling passes in. So Notre Dame is now inside the Owl 20 at the 19, 2nd and 3. On the right side, looking for the first down marker, is Greg Bryant, who picks it up. So another first down for Notre Dame on the march here. Malcolm Hill on the stop after a gain of 5.
You know, we talk about tempo and about the explosiveness of Everett Golson, but from my perspective, the strength of this team is the offensive line and the tailbacks. I think they can run the football, and I think you're seeing a different pace now with Greg Bryant in the game.
And there is Bryant behind Golson. Bryant right up the middle and gets it down close to the 11-yard line.
You know, red zone offense, a little bit of an Achilles heel for Notre Dame historically in the Brian Kelly era. You know, last year they only converted 24-45 for touchdowns, 53%. If you want to compare that to the best team in the country, both #1 on the scoreboard and #1 overall, that's Florida State. They converted 79%. Look at that, 79 possessions, almost 80% touchdown hit rate.
Golson looks like another design play. Comes out of it on 2nd and 7 and goes in for the touchdown. So it's Golson, who hasn't played in more than a year and a half, who scores the first touchdown of the 2014 season on an 11-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, this is definitely a predetermined run. Watch the pass set by the left tackle Stanley. He'll get just enough of a piece and force that defensive end outside. Golson does a heck of a job following Greg Bryant through the hole. Touchdown.
So Kyle Brinza, who has now made 56 straight PATs dating back to 2012. So accurate. Tacks on the extra point. And Notre Dame, with just more than 6 minutes left in the opening quarter of the opening game, gets a touchdown from Everett Golson to take a 7-0 lead. Back at Notre Dame Stadium, Irish Illustrated coming your way. Subscribe and get inside access to Notre Dame football news, analysis, and recruiting. That's irishillustrated.com. Notre Dame opens up the 2014 season with an 11-yard run by Everett Golson, 7-play, 47 yards. Keyed also by 20 yards on the ground by Greg Bryant, who seems to have warranted some playing time early as the whole running back rotation gets sorted out. Notre Dame has had a history, Mike. We talked about it coming in of kind of slow starts and openers at home.
Yeah, the Brian Kelly era, I mean, they lost to South Florida, played 2 poor games that they won against Purdue, and another so-so effort last year against them.
So Brinza puts it in play. Mario Hall watches it bounce in front of him.
Oh, that's a bad break.
And it just curls out of bounds at about the 3.
This is like a golf shot, and it's a bad break for Notre Dame. Look, watch where this thing hits. It's got to go in the end zone, right? But it goes the other way with a little English, rolls out of bounds. Penalty, Notre Dame.
So as we have a moment, let's welcome in the new member of our in-game team, Doug Flutie, who will be wandering the sidelines. We can see you out there, Doug. Welcome to the team. It's another Boston College Eagle, Mike.
Thank goodness.
Doug. Sir. Last drive, I'll tell you what, they finally got Everett Golson involved. He was trying to with some zone reads early, but he said the heck with it. We're running quarterback draw, naked bootleg into it, got a little rhythm going, and then as Mike and I talked about last night, red zone efficiency much better because of the legs of Everett Golson.
That was Jawan Davis on the run as the Owls begin this series up at the 35.
And Doug, I really felt like the combination of the planned quarterback run and then all of a sudden some excitement out of the tailback Greg Bryant was the difference in that last drive.
Yeah, definitely accented it with Bryant slicing through there and running. He's going to be very explosive all year long.
So on 2nd and 9, Dreykus Jackson's going to keep it and pull his way up close to the 40. That'll still bring up 3rd and long.
Nice job both by Jerron Jones that time. And Joe Schmidt has made a couple plays at inside linebacker. The previous snap, he made a huge hit on Jerron Jones. Rice needs to generate a first down here. You know, you come in here, you're a road team. You've never won a big game like this on the road. You need to start generating some success for confidence.
See the line there, brought to you by the UPS store. On 3rd down and 5 from the 39. Jackson sets up and the pass complete and wide open with all sorts of room over the middle, all the way up close to the 30-yard line is Dennis Parks. That's a 29.
That's an NFL-style blitz where they bring Max Redfield from depth, but they forget about the running back. Look at this. They're going to bring 3 people in the same gap over here. Ball comes out quickly. Big play, Rice.
And the Owls in a fast pace here. And brought down immediately by Andrew Trumbetti was Derek Dillard. Trumbetti, a true freshman.
This kid is a true freshman that enrolled in January. High school All-American at a North Valley Regional High School. Played in that Under Armour All-American game, top 100 kind of player. And he flashed for me this past spring and again in summer workouts.
And they expect him to pressure for a starting job before not too long. So at the 31 on 2nd and 10. Play fake. Jackson hangs in there. Buys more time and down the far sideline. A nice one hauled in there by Darian Pollard, a gain of 12, right on the edge of the sideline.
Yeah, I felt like if Dreykus Jackson had stayed with his primary guy, Dennis Parks, it was a touchdown. But give him credit. He kept it alive, and a nice catch by Pollard.
So the ball inside the 20. Rice with a good opportunity here with 3:20 left in the opening quarter, trailing 7-0. Jawan Davis twists his way down close to the 15.
Talked about Notre Dame in the red zone a moment ago, and this is an opportunity for Rice to answer. Big play on that blitz coverage. They've got to continue to get points on the board.
Again, Notre Dame playing without Kivari Russell. Shaq Williams. And without Austin Collinsworth, his captain, who was injured in practice on Thursday. 2nd down and 7, ball outside the 15. Play action. Jackson wheels to his right, going to run it close to the 1st down marker. In fact, a flag is down at about the 18-yard line.
Yeah, that was an easy one, Dan. The right tackle holding.
Offense, number 75. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. 2nd down.
It's on Caleb Williams, the right tackle.
Yeah, that was a very obvious holding call. Shame for Rice because Jawan Davis, the tailback, did a great job cutting a blitzing linebacker, Jalen Smith. Watch Smith come through. The tailback does a nice job, but on the right side of your screen right there, obvious hold by the right tackle, Caleb Williams, and now it becomes much more difficult to convert in the red zone with a major penalty.
Yeah, potential 1st down there brings it all the way back outside the 25 to the 26. 2nd down and 17 now for Jackson.
Notre Dame in their sub package showing 3-man rush.
Jackson wide open at the 5-yard line is Zach Wright for the touchdown. So they get in the big hole and bam, they come to Wright for 26 yards.
That has got to be a bust. I don't know if it's Farley, but watch right down the seam. You've got 8 guys dropping in coverage. Farley checks them. There's nobody over the top. Shoemate starting for Collinsworth comes over late. I'm not sure where the bust was, but trust me, the lack of communication because you're losing Austin Collinsworth has become a story already.
Hairston, the new kicker for Rice, adds the extra point. And just like that, Rice comes back and ties it up from a deep 2nd down and 17 situation. Jackson on the drive, 3 for 3 for 69 yards, and a scorer to right. Monday, September 22nd, last season's #1 news show is back. 3-time Emmy winner James Spader returns on the blacklist Monday, September 22nd on NBC. Warm, humid season opener in South Bend for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Opening up with the Rice Owls, who just scored to make it 7-7. Hopefully the weather forecast that was pretty much gloom and doom earlier will get through this, because there are some bands of weather, but again, not expected till a little bit later on.
So you talked a little bit early about Kamari Russell out, Austin Collinsworth out, and the ramifications were on that play.
Big hit. Hairston puts it through, so it'll come out to the 25. So a little mix-up in the defensive secondary for Notre Dame, and new coordinator Brian Van Gorder. Well, pictures tell the story. Well, that's one bit of dubious history the Rice Owls can say goodbye to. First touchdown scored against Notre Dame in school history. This is just the 5th game played. They first met in 1915. 2 of the last 3 meetings, Notre Dame went on to win the national title in 73 and 78 after victories. Golson going deep for the first time, and wide open is Will Fuller, who stays on his feet and spins his way in for the touchdown. 75 yards. That was the number that T.J. Jones, the respected receiver for Notre Dame, wore last year, and it was one of Will Fuller's objectives was to honor it. And that was a deep ball by Golson, showing off his arm strength, and just like that, Notre Dame back on top. Brunza with a point after makes it 14-7 with 2:01 remaining.
Well, when you play man-to-man in the secondary with no help, it can cut both ways. Notre Dame took advantage. You're going to see this time right down here and to the post. Julius White can't stay with him because of the play-action fake. Great protection. He gets Julius White turned, and trust me, I saw this kid play in high school. Will Fuller, he's as fast as any wide receiver in college football. A year ago, 6 receptions for 160 yards. And he continues his big play. And one of the questions I had, Dan, heading into this season is who's going to step up at wide receiver for the Irish? How about a demonstrative play by Will Fuller?
In our conversation with Golson yesterday, he mentioned immediately Will Fuller looking for big things out of him. He's a deep threat. Yep. There he is celebrating with Cam McDaniel. McDaniel named one of the 14 captains, and there is Will Fuller. 6 foot, 180-pound sophomore from Philadelphia on the receiving end of Golson. And that'll give you an idea of Golson's arm strength. I mean, he's strong running, but he's always had one of the stronger arms in all of college football.
Big arm. I love the pass protection off the play action. And I really think it's going to be difficult for Rice to hold up on the back end if they want to play straight man-to-man.
One play, 12 seconds, 75 yards, and it's 14-7. And Brunza's big leg hits the back of the end zone. And the Owls will come out to the 25 for their next series after the shocker from Golson to Fuller.
Nice job by the Notre Dame offense picking up the defense. Remember, on the prior series in the red zone, gave up a horrific missed assignment touchdown for Rice to tie the game at 7-7. One snap, long touchdown, you're back in charge.
Rice coming off its 3rd 10-win season in school history. And the first outright conference title since 1957 in 56 years. Having won 15 of their last 19 dating back to the 2012 season. Coach Bailiff said it was important they didn't get in a hole early. They're down to just 14-7, and the kid is to DeJuan Davis. And good pursuit by Notre Dame, led by Jalen Smith, a loss of 2. As we take a look at the Notre Dame defense up front, a big key, injured most of last year, Sheldon Day. Jones, Rochelle Okwara up front there as well. And James Onwualu moves from wide receiver to a linebacking position. Cole Luke, a sophomore starter back there, along with Max Redfield, 2 highly recruited players that Notre Dame is going to have to rely on this year.
You know, and Onwualu, that shows you where college football is going. You're taking wide receivers, moving them to linebacker to get more speed on the field.
Notre Dame.
So Notre
First
Dame
charge timeout.
Takes its first timeout with 1:26 remaining in the first. Big strike has put Notre Dame up 14-7. Back at Notre Dame Stadium, the Irish up 14-7. And the Rice Owls beginning this series at their own 24-yard line. Dreyfus Jackson with his first career start on the road, and it comes at Notre Dame Stadium. Trailing by 7. Steps up and fires incomplete. He wanted Mario Hall, and it was Cole Luke on the coverage for Notre Dame.
You know, nothing drives the defensive coordinator more crazy than giving up a big play on 2nd and 17. But watch what happens here. Everybody's heading this way, and the slot runs uncontested. You're only rushing 3 and dropping 8. It's impossible that this happens. Busted assignment. They miss Austin Collinsworth, getting everybody lined up and making all the checks.
So 3rd and 11. Jackson dumps it over the middle, and it's a good gain close to the 30 by Derek Dillard, but he's still well short of the first down. Gain of 6. And that was right after that play we just showed you, the frustration there by Elijah Shumate, 22, and Max Redfield, number 10. Growing pains in that defensive secondary, and of course more responsibility with Austin Collinsworth out, along with Kivari Russell. And we've got Greg Bryant now back deep after Cody Riggs returned a couple for 24 and 25 yards. They're going to put Greg Bryant back there to receive the punt, and it is a low driving punt. Takes a huge hop over Bryant's head and rolls all the way down to the 3. Bryant picks it up and salvages this out of it. All in all, pretty good game out to about the 12 or 13-yard line. So Riggs had a couple of smooth returns, and Bryant, I guess, got the best he could out of this.
Huge hop off that new artificial turf. Surprised Bryant. He tracks it down. Now, make you miss, get up the field. Watch the tackle here by Hamilton. Inside out, very sure tackle. Nice play.
So out come the Irish with just 22 seconds left in the opening quarter, and with a 14-7 lead. Cam McDaniel is back in the backfield for Notre Dame, one of 4 captains elected late in camp for Notre Dame. And this pass complete to Koyak. And for more on Golson and how you think he's doing, let's send it down to Doug Flutie. Doug.
Hey, guys, you know, on the touchdown pass, it was pretty amazing. He just quietly set his feet, saw a clear picture in front of him, stepped into the throw, turned it loose. I think last year, 2 years ago, we would have seen a guy with happy feet moving around a little bit and maybe make an inaccurate throw.
And it's one of the objectives for Golson by the coaches is to get him more comfortable in that pocket, don't immediately leave it. End of the first quarter with a score of 14-7 Notre Dame. We'll return to Notre Dame Stadium after these messages from your local NBC station. You're watching Notre Dame football on NBC. Well, it's been an eventful year, to say the least, under the Golden Dome the last year. Bob Diaco, Chuck Martin have taken head coaching jobs. They were the offensive and defensive coordinators, respectively. Everett Golson has been readmitted, so he's back after serving the year of academic suspension. Stephon Tuitt Up front of the defense leaves for the NFL along with tight end Troy Nicholas. And so the new coordinators, Brian Van Gorder on defense, Mike Denbrock on offense, are announced. New turf installed in the summer. And then came the investigation into academic fraud. 4 players initially announced August 15th. A 5th was named, and they continue to be held out of all football-related activities. So it has been a swirling off-season for the Notre Dame football program. But there is the one steady influence, Cam McDaniel, darting down the sideline, brought down by Gabe Baker, but not before a gain of 24.
He's their most patient running back. Liked how Ben Koyak got out in front, turned it up the field, made a play. Watch on the right side, number 18 gets to the second level. Great block by Elmer, the right tackle. McDaniel runs through tackles. He is an underrated football player. I think he's going to make an NFL roster next year. He's so versatile.
He also had an active offseason. Got married, is an expected father as well. Golson to the air over the middle, and that is complete to Corey Robinson, who makes his first catch of 2014.
Again, Rice, one-on-one, no free safety, makes it really difficult. Watch Robinson at 6'5". He's working against Ryan Pollard with no safety in the middle of the field. Ever can lead him to the middle of the field safely and comfortably. Well done.
And the Irish hurry it up all the way at the 30-yard line. This is Golson brought down. You saw Corey Robinson haul it in. He had a pin inserted in his thumb just last week. There's his dad, the Admiral David Robinson, who has not missed a game on the road or at home so far in his son's career. Oh, and a missed tackle behind the line of scrimmage as McDaniel is able to shake it off for a gain of 6. But there is Corey Robinson. Had the surgery last Thursday, the pin inserted there for a fractured thumb. Said it took a little bit of time to get used to. So that is heavily wrapped with a splint. And now on 3rd and 2, Irish trying to keep this drive alive for a touchdown. Wilson looking at the sideline.
Yeah, so far you have not called Covington's name, potential All-American defensive tackle, wearing number 1 for Rice.
Wilson over to his right, and he throws it right into the hands of Gabe Baker, who, had he held on, had a lot of green in front of him.
Yeah, I think he felt like Baker was going to continue inside. You'll see number 27, Gabe Baker, as you sprint to the right. He jumps the outside route. 2 things there. I think he misidentified Baker, and number 2, poorly thrown to the inside and high. That ball on an outbreaking route's got to be low and away, not inside and high.
So the Irish escape the turnover there, and that'll bring out Brinza to attempt a 39-yarder, coming off another incredible year. 20 of 26, and this one, though, is well off the mark. So an uncharacteristic miss for the usually very accurate Brinza from 39 yards. It remains 14-7. Notre Dame football is being brought to you by Gatorade. Gatorade knows it all begins within. A win from within. By Scott Trade. Our passion is to power yours. By the Lincoln Summer Invitation, visit your Lincoln showroom today. And by Discover, we treat you like you'd treat you. There's some possible weather in the area. Didn't affect the pregame festivities around campus earlier on, but there's definitely some gray skies and some activity out there. In fact, they just made an announcement on the PA system here to the crowd in case of bad weather. Maybe ready for head to safety, but we'll see. That is Jawan Davis on the first play of this drive.
14-7 game here. Early second quarter. A little ominous, huh, Dan?
Yep, it is out there. Some 10-11 miles away. And again, it was expected. It's just a matter of how these thunderstorms lined up and if there would be any electricity, because the field, you know, is going to be fine with this new turf. Dreyfus Jackson with a beauty across the side there to Dennis Parks.
for a first down, brought down by Joe Schmidt after a gain of 15. Flag on the play.
I think with Jordan Taylor out of the game, who's their best wide receiver, this is the guy that's got to play, Dennis Parks.
Illegal formation against the offense. 5 men in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
So that comes back.
There's Jordan Taylor. Had a chance to talk with him a little bit on the field before the game. He's 6'5", 210, 55 catches last year, 8 touchdowns. He was walking around in practice with a boot on the other day, and I said, how close were you able to go today? And he said, Coach Bailiff said, he said, I was trying to push the coach, and he said, no, we're holding you out. We have an open week next week, and then you'll be ready for Texas A&M in 2 weeks. He's a dynamic playmaker.
Yeah, that's what Bailiff told us. If he's not 100%, they just didn't want to risk it. He is that important to the team for the remainder of the season. So second down and 12 after that one is brought back, and the snap is low. Jackson able to scoop it up on the hop, and incomplete, wanting Dennis Parks, who got a hand on it. Out there in the coverage was Riggs and Redfield.
Yeah, Riggs did a nice job reading that. They were trying to high-low him, meaning the receiver over top and underneath. He sunk back underneath and forced the ball to get thrown a little high.
Talked to Cody Riggs yesterday. Played and graduated at Florida, and it was Notre Dame that came down to Notre Dame in Florida before he committed to the Gators and played there, starting 26 games before transferring, and now he's in the Mendoza Business School here at Notre Dame. Kind of weighed his percentages after the poor Gator season last year and thought it might be better to play one more year, get into the business school here at Notre Dame, and try to lead the Irish secondary. Third down and 12. Another flag comes in the backfield.
Prior to the snap, delay a game. Offense, number 6. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
They keep backing up.
Dan, you're talking about Cody Riggs. He had 25 starts in the SEC for the University of Florida. He played corner, he played nickel. Last year, all of his starts were at free safety, so they're asking him to play a position he hasn't played in a couple years. I really believe his most natural position is over the slot as their nickel. And again, the loss of Kavari Russell forces him outside.
Yeah, Gerald Riggs played in a Super Bowl. He comes from a great family and said that Notre Dame instantly welcomed him into the program. So on third and long, 17, the Owls backed up at their own 15. Jackson comes out of the pocket and gets it up to the 25-yard line. Still well short of the first down before Matthias Farley brings him down after a gain of 10.
Yeah, outside of that one busted assignment where Rice scored on a long touchdown pass, Notre Dame defense has been solid.
Brian Van Gorder coming over from the New York Jets, where he was the linebacker coach for Rex Ryan. He has had 4 jobs in the last 4 years, but he has had some significant experience in college football, coordinator at Georgia and Auburn as well as his NFL experience. Greg Bryant is back deep to receive the punt again for Notre Dame. As Fairman angles this one to the right, and here comes Bryant.
Special teams different this year, Dan.
It is a different look indeed, as Notre Dame will set up in Rice territory when we come back leading 14-7. Under gray skies with 11:22 left in the opening half. Notre Dame setting up at the Rice Owl 49. And weather getting closer, we understand. Mason comes out again. Skirts to the outside, just not able to stay on his feet. He had the first down marker in his sights, but still a good gain of 6 for Golson.
You know, and Doug Flutie and I have talked about this all week. Watch him make somebody miss right here. A little pump fake, steps up inside. And the conversation Doug and I have had is we think that he's most effective when he's natural, when he's not worried about having to stay in the pocket. When he can do what he does, that's when Golson's most effective.
Second down and 3.
defense come in as the Rice defense can cross.
Snap infraction. Number 72. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
It certainly looked like Nick Martin pulled the trigger early there. Also named one of the captains and the younger brother of Zach Martin, of course, who went on to the NFL's Dallas Cowboys. Brother combination, which was on the line last year for Notre Dame.
Zach Martin went number 16, where I didn't think Jerry Jones was going to be able to help himself and take Johnny Football. Chris Watt, 3rd round to San Diego. Both of them are outstanding. And the reason why is Harry Eastham, their offensive line coach here at Notre Dame.
So 2nd and 8, Golson feels the pressure, and this time he is sacked back at the 45 by Zach Pat. Loss of 8.
Zach Pat one-on-one with right tackle Steve Elmer. Now watch the right tackle, top of the screen, loses him. Good hand use by Pat, but it's mostly speed. There's the right side of the field. Elmer's got to do a much better job pushing him up the field past his quarterback. That's a true win right there for Pat.
Pat's first career start after being a backup for most of his career. And that'll bring up 3rd down and 16 for Golson, doing his drive beginning at the 49.
We'll draw screen here, some kind of quarterback run also.
There he goes, hang in the pocket a little bit. Looks and goes deep down the field, wide open, and not able to hang on is C.J. Procise.
I'm going to tell you right now, that's all about the quarterback. That is a beautiful job holding on to the football, waiting till something comes open. C.J. Procise starts down. That's his immediate route. Now he recognizes his quarterback's in trouble. He breaks deep. Look where this ball's put.
Oh.
That ball has to be caught by the wide receiver, but this is the key here. Doug Flutie will tell you, patience, eyes downfield, slide one way, buy time for your receivers to get open. That is a beautiful job by the young quarterback.
So what would have been a 55-yard touchdown catch by Procise, instead they punt it and turn the ball back over to Rice. Oh, Procise will be talking about that, or at least remembering that one for a while. Wide open. 100 players tee off the Deutsche Bank Championship. Only 70 move on. It's the FedEx Cup playoffs. Who will advance? Coverage beginning tomorrow morning at 11:30 Eastern Time on Golf Channel and continuing at 3 here at NBC. It is a Monday finish to the Deutsche Bank Championship, the second leg of the FedEx Cup playoffs on a Labor Day weekend. Dan Hicks, Mike Mayock, Catherine Tappan, Doug Flutie here with you for the Notre Dame opener, and Dreyfus Jackson showing a little bit of that mobility as the Rice quarterback moves it out for a first down at a gain of 19.
The left tackle Ian Gray, whose father played here at Notre Dame, did a real nice job getting up to the 2nd level, the linebacker level, cutting off the inside pursuit.
We were hearing that his father made the trip out here from Saudi Arabia to see his son play. Dad playing on the national championship team, and that one is dropped by Mario Hull.
Bad throw. Low throw. Timing is everything on those bubble screens.
Yeah, we talked about Ian Gray's father. There he was, number 75 on that 1977 national championship for Notre Dame. And the rumor was, Mike, that he was going to be wearing owl garb, but not Notre Dame in support of his son. And what father wouldn't do that?
All about the blood, right? I mean, blood first, alma mater second.
Dad works in Saudi Arabia, making a long trip to see his son play.
Nice aggressive play on the edge.
Complete to Dennis Parks. Gain of just 2 as the Irish defense was there. Cole Luke in his first start.
I love how Luke beat the block of number 35, Luke Turner. Really good job on the edge.
3rd and 8.
3rd and 8. Big down for Rice here.
Rice Owls a 3-touchdown underdog, staying right in this game at 14-7. Jackson comes out of the pocket and gets the first down into Irish territory at the 47. So a big 3rd and 8 conversion for Dreyfus Jackson, gain of 12.
He sees a gap. Watch what happens when he steps back now, doesn't see anything, but slides to his left. Look at the block late. Right there by number 35, Luke Turner. That's just enough to get the first down, and they extend the drive.
Luke Turner, who plays a number of positions for Rice on offense. Number 35.
Oh, there it is. Touchdown.
From the shotgun, wide open, and there is Luke Turner. Complete all the way down to the 20. Didn't get in, Mike, but got 25.
So they just set this up with 2 bubble screens in a row. Now 35 here. Turner's going to fake that he blocks and then release up the field. Cole Luke and the safety both beat on that. That's Shoemate. One of the 2 has deep responsibility. Another bust by the Irish team.
And Rice in the hurry up. Jackson slides in. Elijah Shoemate on the stop. Turner's such a big key player for the Rice Owls coming down the stretch. The MVP of the Conference USA Championship game, throwing a couple of touchdown passes. They'll line him up in the Wildcat, which they call the Wild Owl at times. Haven't seen it yet. But there's Jawan Davis.
You know what I like? I love his nickname.
I knew you were going there.
His name's Luke Turner. They all call him Bob because Luke Wilson, the tight end with the Seattle Seahawks, said you can't be Luke, I'm Luke.
Yeah, Luke Wilson, a member of the Rice team last year.
Then Turner Peterson said you can't be Turner. And then they said you can't be LT, your initials, because that's way too cool. So they said you're Bob.
And everyone calls him. And when we say everyone, his parents call him Bob. His girlfriend calls him Bob.
It's beautiful. It's not, you know, it's not that funny, but that's typical football humor, and it's really kind of cute.
Timeout on the field as Bob comes off. We'll take a moment to compose ourselves. Notre Dame up 14-7. Everyone all dressed up for the Notre Dame Irish home opener, but it's the Rice Owls with a big play here, 3rd and 5 from the Irish 16.
There's Luke Turner. Watch him running a wheel route. Got to get him involved.
Jackson does another good job of avoiding some defenders, and he will be wrestled out there by Jalen Smith, so that'll bring up 4th down.
Jalen Smith is one of the best athletes playing linebacker in this entire country. Does an excellent job. Last year, early in the season, as a freshman, lost perimeter control sometimes. Look at him here. Under control, makes a sure open field tackle. That kid's a potential All-American. He's really gifted, and he's taken his game up another notch.
And there is James Hairston. This is the very first field goal attempt of his college career, and it is good from 33 yards out. He left LSU, where he was the kickoff specialist there for 3 years. He's got all sorts of ties with his family in the state of Texas, not only at Rice, but at SMU as well. And he finally gets his chance and knocks it through to get the Rice Owls there within 14-10. But Mike, you talked about it earlier. I mean, it has been somewhat of a nemesis of Brian Kelly, home openers against underdog teams, and we're looking at a similar situation here right now with the Rice Owls creeping within 14-10 with about 5:51 left.
Look, 2 busted coverages lead directly to 10 points. You've got a wide receiver, C.J. Prosise, wide open and drops a 55-yard touchdown pass. You can't blame anybody but yourself if you're Notre Dame that it's a 14-10 ballgame.
All right, what are your thoughts on Everett Golson? Obviously, he's had a big touchdown strike of his own and a run. His first game in some 600 days.
I think he is what college football is all about today at the quarterback position. He's dynamic. He's got a big arm. We've seen that. He can run. We can see that. This is just about continuing to make him comfortable, and he's going to make more and more plays as this season continues.
In the words of Brian Kelly, he wanted Everett Golson to go from fearful to fearless.
Right.
And his quote about Everett Golson, who he said rode the bus in 2012 at the BCS National Championship game instead of driving it, kind of served the dual role there to kind of say, hey, Everett, you know, that was a different kind of team. It was great, but this is your team. This is Amir Carlisle kind of spinning around, as that team and the success of it was largely predicated on defense. Let's check in again on the field with Doug Flutie about Everett Golson. Your thoughts, Doug?
You know, it's amazing. When he starts moving around, he looks so relaxed. He's moving in the pocket. His eyes are up the field. He's relaxed with the throw. I think early in the game, the first 2 drives, he was a little stiff because he didn't get into the flow yet. On the 3rd drive of the game, he ran the ball a couple times, ran the quarterback draw, and it was on. He's relaxed throwing the football.
Hey, Doug, do you remember the other night at dinner we talked about you early in your career at Boston College and how you played tight early, but then a big play got you going, right?
Absolutely. Well, you had to break a sweat, get hit, get into the flow, take off and run, and then you calm down, especially in a situation where Everett hadn't played you so long.
This is Greg Bryant. Greg Bryant taking the pile all the way for first down yardage. He was the first top 10 running back signee at Notre Dame since James Aldridge all the way back in 2006. Very highly recruited and finally seeing what he can do.
And at the end of the run, watch him just drop the pad level right here and look at the strength in his legs, carrying 2-3 Rice defenders with him.
Bright sunshine splashing out on the new turf field here at Notre Dame Stadium, but across the way from us it is very ominous looking still, very gray skies, but we play on with just more than 5 minutes left in the opening half. Notre Dame 14, Rice 10. And after the Bryant run, Golson hanging in the pocket and throwing it up top, and that ball is complete to Carlisle, who hangs on for a gain of 32.
What I love here is we've been talking about Golson on the move. Watch him hang in the pocket. Back foot, slides, moves. Now look where this ball's delivered. Perfect throw to Carlisle, who's operating out of the slot with precise. I like how he widens the safety, brings it back inside to give his quarterback a window to throw it in.
Carlisle, the former transfer out of USC, who didn't see much action last year after the 45-yard run of the very first play. Fumbled the ball in the 4th quarter against Purdue and just had 17 carries for the rest of the season. But now he's in that slot wide receiver role as Golson heads out to Chris Brown. And Brown for more good yardage inside the 30 for another first down and a gain of 14.
Boy, if I'm Rice and I see Koyak in front of Brown split wide, my first thought is bubble, and I got to be attacking that. That was a poor job by the Rice defenders. Watch number 29, Callahan. He's dancing with that big tight end. Nice stalk block. Stalk block means you just get in that defender's face and dance with him.
Notre Dame on the move here.
Nice cut.
So is Bryant. That was really quick, those feet. Gain of 14, and Notre Dame just running down the field here now against Rice.
Yeah, running back coach Tony Alford said, watch him stick his foot in the ground, jump cut right there. Boy, is he an explosive kid. They've got 3 tailbacks that can play anywhere. I think the biggest challenge is going to find touches for each of them.
Bryant already with 47 yards on 6 rushes. And Notre Dame down to the Rice 16 with another 1st and 10. And a quick hit to the outside to Fuller, who had the big touchdown earlier. And this time they corral him for not much of the gain. Zach Pat.
We talk about, Dan, how do you find touches for these running backs? What Ryan said to us the other day was we're going to look for a hot hand. And right now in this first half, it's been Greg Bryant. He's been getting increasingly more and more touches as the half rolls on.
Kelly also telling us that he wanted to get Golson some confidence right off the start. He goes, you know what? This is the first time this guy has played in such a long time. We don't want to get too crazy out there for a guy that hasn't been in the heat of competition for such a long time.
He's made one bad throw. The rest of the half been false.
Now 2nd and 8. Just winging it out of bounds. Golson 8 of 12 for 169 yards and the touchdown toss to Fuller.
Yeah, good pressure that time by Grant Peterson in their rotation as a nose tackle. He's a former tight end that's very athletic, and he got the pressure on Golson.
Brian Kelly continues to rack up wins among college coaches. Now ranks 3rd among active FBS coaches in career wins. 208 wins for Brian Kelly. Only Virginia Tech's Frank Beamer, South Carolina's Steve Spurrier have more. He started his first 4 seasons with 8+ wins at least.
Timeout. Notre Dame. 2nd charge timeout.
Wow. third down in the red zone. It's a huge play, and obviously Brian didn't like what he saw out there.
3rd down and 8. The timeout for Notre Dame. They burn it with 2:41 left in the half. Irish by 4. Rice hanging around. Well, that's the side of the stadium we're on. Sun splashed, including the field, and then you look across the way. It looks like it's all just going to come unleashed. But so far, looks like we're going to get this first half in without any delays. Big key play here for Notre Dame. 3rd and 8 from the Owl 14. Golson flanked by McDaniel to his left.
He's changing the play because there's 3 defensive backs over the 2 wideouts.
Golson stepping up, going to come out and run. It's going to get the first down and leap into the end zone for the touchdown. That's the Golson everybody got to know real well back in 2012. Play breaks down, turn on the Jets, and turn it into a score. 14-yarder. That's his 2nd of the game to go along with an 11-yarder earlier.
All about the quarterback.
He led Notre Dame in rushing touchdowns back in 2012 and already has picked up a couple here. Brinza has the extra point, 21-10.
2 things. Watch his patience, and then watch Connor Hanratty, he's 65, get a bump on the nose tackle, which opens it up, and now all this is innate athletic ability. He extends the football. His eyes are up and downfield. Little pump fake. Doug Flutie. What do you see? I'm enjoying this, man.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. Everett saw 3-man rush, and he's so predictable. It's 3rd down. Look at him fly. It's 3rd down. Unless somebody is wide open, I'm hanging on to the ball, and I'm going to make a play with my feet.
Yeah, I think we're seeing the birth of a dynamic quarterback. Somebody that people are going to be talking about around the country, not just around here.
Nope, there was so much talk when the academic suspension became public that would Everett Golson stick around? Would he stay at Notre Dame? Would he transfer? Well, he said, I wanted to finish what I started. I wanted to stay here, finish the job, prove to my teammates and the university that I could mature and be a part of the Notre Dame community. And so far, Everett Golson has checked off every box after the suspension. He has just been a great team member, and right now has been a huge influence on Notre Dame, spreading it back out to a 21-10 margin.
About 8 for 12 for 169 and 2 rushing touchdowns. 1 bad throw all day. The rest has been impeccable.
Big leg of Brinza sends it almost into the stadium crowd. And a reminder, coming up, it's the Discover Card halftime report. Jimmy Roberts in our NBC studio. He'll have all the scores and highlights from this first Saturday in college football, plus Liam McHugh, Doug Flutie, Hines Ward. Down on the field, they'll break down the first half here. Look ahead to the NFL kickoff weekend, which begins next Thursday. As our own Josh Elliott sat down with Super Bowl champion quarterback Russell Wilson of the Seahawks to preview their match against the Packers. So football is in full gear here. That's all coming up on the Discover Card halftime report. 2:33 left in the opening half. Dreyfus, Jackson, and Rice begin at the 25. And Jackson with a toss out to Jawan Davis with a good run out just across the 30. Elijah Shoemate on the stop.
Joe Schmidt has been very active, the middle linebacker, one of my favorite players because he's a former walk-on. 3-year process to get a scholarship. And now he's making his imprint felt.
2nd down and 5. Here is Davis again. Short of the first down, I believe.
And that was Schmidt again with the first contact.
Wrote down on a piece of paper to his dad when he was just a little boy 3 things that he wanted to do. One of them on the list was to play football at Notre Dame. Turned down some other scholarship offers just to come here and be a walk-on. And here he is working his way into the starting lineup.
That's pretty good if you can cross one off your bucket list at age 20. I like that, man.
3rd and short for Rice. Coming up on the 1.5-minute mark in the opening half.
Jackson quickly turns and gives to Derek Dillard, who picks up the first down. So Rice working with 2 timeouts. And under a minute 30 to go.
Yeah, they've got to pick the pace up here a little bit.
David Bailiff in his 8th year. Now the Conference USA Coach of the Year twice now.
He's got 2 10-win seasons, and he's in some pretty good company with who he's been a 2-time Conference Coach of the Year with in that conference.
Jackson over the middle. That pass is complete. Dennis Parks. But good pursuit by Notre Dame, which will bring up 3rd down. Matthias Farley on the chase, gain of 5.
Yeah, Farley stayed home. That zone coverage the whole way, stayed home, made a good solid tackle. And you're fine with that with the amount of time on the clock, 45 and rolling.
2nd down and 5. And that is complete to Luke Turner, or is it Bob?
No, he's Bob. For the rest of this game, he is Bob.
Luke Turner officially picks up the first down, which puts the ball at midfield. And one of those timeouts is called by Rice. 37 seconds left.
You know,
Else can put together at least a field goal or so here. We'll see.
You know, the big question coming in, Danny, was, okay, Golson away, as you said, 600 days away from football. What kind of first half has this kid had? I love what he's done with his feet. Nice job following Bryant into the hole. Touchdown. Play action. Look at his confidence, his patience, and finally his arm strength. Will Fuller, touchdown. In the red zone. Patience. 3-man rush. Ball fake. Jump in the end zone. 2 rushing touchdowns. 8 for 12. I'd give that kid an A, and I think he's the reason this offense has a chance to be really dynamic this year.
I spent some time on the phone with his quarterback guru or engineer, George Whitfield, out on the West Coast, who spent considerable time with Everett on 2 different stints, and said he never had that victim mentality. He just wanted to go to work, and boy, did they ever go to work. Here's Jackson trying to avoid the pressure, but down he goes. Matthias Farley in the backfield there to bring him down for the loss.
Yeah, Farley's coming off the slot, and what they're trying to do is show pressure inside so the slot, Farley can come free off the slot. So they show the pressure inside and drop out. The halfback gets the defensive end, and here comes Farley in late. Good pressure by Notre Dame. That's the plus side of the Brian Van Gorder pressure defense.
So there's Farley. You've got Jerron Jones, who was given pressure there. He moved inside last year due to some injuries, as that Notre Dame defense last year was just decimated by injuries, which had a lot of guys playing positions that they didn't really want to put them in at that point.
Well, they've got 7 true freshmen in their 2 deep on defense, and that's atypical, and by comparison, they only have 1 freshman in their 2 deep on offense. Rice, you're looking for at least field goal opportunity. Your kicker's got a big leg.
Even though he's just got 1 career kick, but he does have a strong leg. Jackson trying to give him some more, but he is intercepted by Farley, who's had quite a series.
Just a bad play by an inexperienced quarterback. He does a great job buying time, but I have no idea why he would throw this football. Jackson in the pocket, slides, moves, eyes down the field. So far, pretty good, but why this ball's thrown, I have no idea. Matthias Farley, nice job. Ball comes right to you. Make the catch. That's a bad decision and a bad throw.
It's the first turnover of the day, and it goes Notre Dame's way. So now you got 21 seconds left, and the Irish at their own 47. With a chance to get Brinza maybe in position for a field goal. Maybe.
Yeah, and I think, again, does Golson dance around, buy time, use his legs? This is where you get that X factor.
The Irish do have 1 timeout. Golson's going to try to get a big chunk right here. Just out of the outstretched arms of Fuller, who was streaking down the sideline.
Wait, that's not just an incomplete pass. That's a great throw.
Guy's got an arm, doesn't he? Looks
my
like it's gotten a lot
goodness.
stronger.
That's
too.
all the way across from the far hash, and watch where this ball's thrown with some pretty good coverage. Fuller's got to do a better job of keeping that route inside to give him more room on the outside. He hit him in the hand all the way across the field. That's just, talking about arm strength and accuracy. I'm getting a little too excited here. That's cool.
So 2nd down and 10. Clock winds again. Golson avoids the pressure. He's going to go long, deep downfield again, and looking at the goal line for the touchdown is Procise. Procise dropped one earlier. That would have been a 55-yarder. He hangs on for a 53-yard score.
And what did we just talk about? Will Everett buy some time, see if he can make something happen in the last 28 seconds of the first half? And that's exactly what he did.
C.J. Procise was not going to let that get on the new turf at Notre Dame Stadium.
And I'm not sure how the Rice defensive backs can justify letting a guy get behind you in this situation. I don't get that one.
And it really stings even more, as that is the way they're most likely going to go into the locker room. Down 18 now, 28-10. Here's another look at Golson from behind.
Again, this is college football today. Slides to his left, eyes down the field, sees Procise deep. Easy touchdown, and again, I don't understand how a guy can get this open. I see the trip there in the man coverage. That was Gabe Baker, their captain, who tripped. None of the safeties stayed home. You can't allow that to happen in the last minute of a half. That's cardinal sin on defense, but let's face it, Everett Golson's pretty special.
And all due respect for Tommy Rees and what he did for this team throughout his career and last year and even in the 2012 season, in the national championship season, filling in for Everett Golson when Kelly thought there was a need to fill in for him. This is what the Notre Dame offense can do with a guy with that kind of mobility.
I walked to the stadium on Thursday for practice with Brian Kelly, and we were talking about that topic. And he said, Mike, you've said it before. You said it's in my DNA to just want to go pedal the metal, throw the ball all over the lot. And he said, that's what I want to do. And I think I got the kid I can do it with.
Golson has a couple of touchdowns passing, a couple of touchdowns on the ground. He's thrown for 222 yards. And we've got another second half to go. 5 seconds remain. And Rice trailing 28-10. And Brian Kelly and the Irish and Everett Golson will go into the locker room, not too far removed from a game that was very, very close, now with an 18-point lead.
And now Brian Van Gorder can tee off selectively.
Dreyfus Jackson will take a knee, and that will be it. Notre Dame with the lead on the big strike by Golson to Procise of 53 yards. Well, let's send it down to Catherine Tappan. Catherine.
All right, Dan, thank you. Coach, an impressive drive to end the first half there from your quarterback, Everett Golson, who returned today. How would you assess his performance?
Well, he's a pretty exciting player. Obviously, he does a lot outside the pocket, but I was impressed with what he did within the realm of the offense, too. You know, we left some points out there, missed a field goal, and had a big drop. Got to clean up a couple of things in the back end of our defense with communication. We got a couple of young guys back there that got to do a better job communicating. If we do that, come back out in the second half and play a little bit more consistently, I think we'll have a good day today.
Special teams was an area you guys wanted to focus on coming in. How did you see your special teams unit, in particular your punt returners?
Yeah, very pleased today with our punt return game. Obviously, that's been something that we've been focusing on. I think Cody Riggs, Greg Bryan have done a great job, and we've done a nice job in all areas.
Coach, thank you very much. Dan?
Thank you, Catherine. Brinza did miss a 39-yarder, but Notre Dame leads halftime here. Stay tuned for the Discover Card halftime report. Don't forget the halftime performance of the Notre Dame band, also on NBCSports.com, as we send you to Jimmy Roberts in our NBC studio. Here we go to start
The openers for both Rice and the Fighting Irish. Golson comes out of it on 2nd and 7 and goes in for the touchdown. Jackson wide open for the touchdown. Golson going deep for the first time. And wide open is Will Fuller. He spins his way in for the touchdown. Wide open. Rice hanging around. Golson stepping up and leap into the end zone for the touchdown.
I think we're seeing the birth of a dynamic quarterback.
So it was the Everett Golson show down the stretch, which has given Notre Dame a 28-10 lead in the 5th meeting ever between the two schools. Home opener for Notre Dame, season opener for both. And the weather so far, good news, it has stayed away. It was an ominous forecast ever since earlier in the week, but so far so good. And hopefully we continue to be uninterrupted as the Rice Owls will have the first chance with the football to begin this second half. And a look at the stats. Notre Dame dominating in total yards, and the 1 turnover committed by Rice.
Understand that Everett Golson was responsible for 250 of those 333 yards and all 4 touchdowns.
So Kyle Brinza to kick it off. Rice hasn't had a chance, and they won't here either. That'll come out to the 25 as we check in with Catherine Tappan.
All right, Dan, thank you. I spoke to Rice head coach David Bailiff coming out of the break there, and he mentioned they have to eliminate the turnovers. They knew that Notre Dame was going to be dangerous in the secondary, and that's exactly what they proved in the first half. He said he certainly saw the opportunities that Rice had offensively. The difference is they're going to have to capitalize those and not allow Notre Dame to. Dan?
Rice, 23 straight losses versus ranked opponents. In fact, their last win over an AP ranked opponent 17 years ago, and it's been some 23 years since they beat a ranked opponent on the road. So down by 18, that's the obstacle they face here as they begin at the 25.
I'm not sure how you do
that. As the play clock with
delay a game. Offense, number 6, 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
David Bailiff understandably upset there. I don't understand how you come out of the halftime tunnel and take too much time on the first snap of the second half. That's on the quarterback.
Dreyfus Jackson again in his 2nd career start.
A lot of question marks in that Notre Dame secondary. They look confused again.
And this is Jawan Davis getting loose a bit, but he just gets back up across the line of scrimmage. Gain of 2.
You know, Dan, I'm a former defensive back, and I've kind of kept my eye pretty closely on the back end this entire game. The 2 busts by Notre Dame in the first half were costly, but they're struggling to get everything out almost every snap. And again, Austin Collinsworth not playing.
As Notre Dame now without 5 players being held out of football-related activities. Again, Kivari Russell was a big key. We talked about him at the top, and then losing Collinsworth to the injury late in practice on Thursday, and that was just a huge blow. We talked about it, but there was Collinsworth, named a team captain, didn't even know if he's going to play football a couple of years ago, sat out that entire run to the BCS championship game with 2 surgeries in his back and shoulder, and then he's poised to end off his eligibility here, and he's hurt watching from the sidelines. This is Derek Dillard with a good gain on the far sideline.
True freshman Greer Martini late. I saw that 3 times in the first half where they didn't cover the back out of the backfield. That's the first time Rice actually identified and completed the pass.
And picks up the first down, so now they're in business all the way up to the 43-yard line. After that delay of game penalty started this drive. Fake by Jackson, hangs in the pocket, feels the pressure, and down he goes at the 39 by a swarm of Irish defenders.
Yeah, they're running a little stunt here, called an X stunt. He comes out, Aquara works around, they're doing it on both sides. Jerron Jones gets there, Aquara gets there. A lot of movement up front with their front 4.
And there's the new defensive coordinator, Brian Van Gorder. His very first game here at Notre Dame on 2nd and 14. Jackson chased out a bit. Pass is complete at midfield to Pollard. And Pollard picks up a big gain, picks up the first down. 15 yards from Jackson to Pollard.
Yeah, that time Notre Dame lost contained. Jerron Jones buried himself inside, allowing the quarterback Dreyfus Jackson to get outside, find Pollard, put it on him. Missed tackle by Cody Riggs.
Just one catch by Pollard all of last year, 4 carries, as he's now into the receiving portion of Rice. Big time. Brandon Hamilton with his first action here.
Dan, you mentioned a moment ago about Austin Collinsworth. I felt horribly for the kid.
And here was Austin addressing the student body at the pep rally last night as one of the captains.
When times get hard, we get stronger. And let me tell you guys something about tomorrow. With these men at my side, Our Lady on the Dome looking down, and the roar of your cheers at our backs, we cannot lose.
Second and 6. Another first down picked up by Hamilton there. So inspirational charged up words by Collinsworth, who he knew at the time obviously would not be playing today as the rain begins to fall here at Notre Dame Stadium. And the crowd now scrambles for umbrellas and ponchos.
I wonder where Austin got the gift of gab.
Doesn't fall too far from the tree.
You don't lick it off the grass.
As they say.
As they say.
So now a pounding rain all of a sudden, and a 1st and 10 for Rice. And it is really coming down. Set up at the Irish 34. Davis moves the pile for a good gain. Gain of 6.
That rain is coming down, man. People are scrambling for their ponchos.
Well, we knew it was close. It was out there some 10 miles or so early in the game. And thankfully, there's been no direction by the Notre Dame officials here for any kind of evacuation, any kind of electricity in the air. 2nd down and 4. Here's Davis again. This time, Notre Dame's defense is there to meet him for maybe a little bit of a loss. So Davis getting most of the carries now from Rice. And that'll bring up 3rd down.
Shoemate did a nice job there. Remember, we got on him a little bit in the first half about lack of communication and missing assignments. That time he kept contained, made the tackle.
So they crank up the music here, and at least the Notre Dame student body getting into it, having some fun, taking a big-time shower here. Rain has lightened up a little bit. Play clock getting down to the final few seconds, and Jackson this time just gets it off in time. 3rd and 4, down the sideline, incomplete, and that'll bring up 4th down. Intended for Dennis Parks. Cole Luke on the coverage for Notre Dame.
You know, here's a situation where the quarterback's got to make a throw. It's one-on-one coverage. Either throw the fade or throw the back shoulder, but don't throw it out of bounds. It's one-on-one, no help. Either throw it into the end zone or in his back shoulder, but nobody can make this catch. Good coverage by Cole Luke.
So out comes James Hairston to attempt his 2nd career college field goal try, and that one is blocked. That was an attempt from 46 yards. So Rice in the end comes up with nothing.
I thought it was Isaac Rochelle, but I'm not sure, Dan.
Hairston hit one earlier for his 1st career field goal in college. That one's blocked. Notre Dame remains 18 up. Notre Dame football is brought to you by Cadillac, by Bud Light. Stay in the game and drink responsibly. Also by U.S. Bank, all of us serving you, member FDIC. Well, in fact, that latest field goal attempt by Hairston wasn't blocked. It was just kind of a slippery exchange, and he slipped on the plant leg.
Yep.
And missed the field goal, and Notre Dame sets up now just inside its own 30, and Golson gives it to Tarian Folston, who had just 1 carry, I believe, or so in the first half. So Folston has been overshadowed so far by Greg Bryant in the game.
You know, Folston averaged over 5 yards a carry last year as a freshman. And as I said earlier, it's just an innate feel for the game. Understands when and how to cut.
Gain of 3 for Folston, who had 470 yards as a freshman running back last year. Folston just kind of floats in and out. Now he floats to the sideline and throws it out of bounds. That'll bring up 3rd down.
You know, the best football player on the Rice defense is Christian Covington, a potential All-American defensive tackle. We haven't called his name. Christian Lombard, the right guard. Watch him stay on this kid the whole time. Now, this is an explosive, quick kid. He gets that left hand into his chest, holds him the entire time. That's an excellent job by the 5th-year senior Christian Lombard, staying with an extremely quick and strong potential All-American Christian Covington.
Yeah, Covington clearly the best player for Rice on either side of the ball. 3rd down and 7, but has remained for the most part in check by the Irish offensive line. And Golson buying a little more time, darts back in the pocket. Now comes out to the sideline looking for the 1st down marker. And he got it.
You know, 3-man rush, and like Doug Flutie said earlier, he's recognizing this. Watch, the nose tackle just sits there almost like he's spying. It's not a spy, but they're trying to keep him in the pocket. So what does Everett do? Hold the ball, look down the field, let all 8 defenders drop off, and then use your legs to win when you're just dealing with 3 defensive linemen. That's awesome.
And boy, aren't Kelly's words that he told us yesterday coming true. He said the quarterback in Golson will dictate everything. Golson doing a little dance on his own.
That's what I was talking about a minute ago, Dan. You know, talk about that innate feel for how and when to cut. He allows the block to get set up. Jump cuts outside Steve Velmer's block, and that was beautiful.
Gain of 12, another 1st down.
The cut. There comes the pulling tackle, Ronnie Stanley. He bounces outside of it. Talk about some gifted young tailbacks in this program, and I include Cam McDaniel in that with Folston and Greg Bryant.
Yeah, you've got really kind of the perfect situation. You've got Cam McDaniel as the mentor, real steady guy, captain, and Folston and Bryant learning below him. This is Fuller, who had the big score earlier in the 1st half. Alex Lyons on the stop, but Fuller gains 8, close to another 1st down, just short.
That was by Alex Lyons.
Rice has got to make a play on defense.
2nd down, called at 2.
There's
and
one.
Now it's 3rd down and a lot longer than that, maybe 6.
And this kid, Brian Nordstrom, who's a former walk-on, has made 2 or 3 plays in the backfield, all with quickness. Stanley oversteps. Nordstrom comes up inside and makes the play. That's about the 3rd big hit, 2 to 3 yards deep in the backfield that skinny little walk-on's made. And again, he's now a scholarship player, but I really like that.
Well, they mark it at the 42, so 3rd down and 4. Golson looking to convert again, and he does. To Chris Brown, that is complete inside the 35 for a gain of 8.
Golson knew exactly what he needed. Calm in the pocket, soft edge, throw it.
That's the play for Chris Brown. And 8, 1st down.
Golson's passing marks now up to 238 yards. And we are just about midway through this 3rd quarter.
Corey Robinson's one-on-one.
Golson going deep. Robinson was there, double coverage out there, never had a chance at it.
You know, Corey talked about being stronger yesterday versus press coverage. That time he got pushed right into the sideline. I mean, this is where a guy that's 6'4" or 5, admittedly very weak a year ago, he's put on about 15 pounds of muscle, but you can't let the corner throw you out of bounds like that. He's got to continue to work on his hands, having violent hands, disengage. He's got to get stronger.
2nd down and 10. Just a light misting rain after the downpour earlier. And this is the team captain McDaniel plowing up ahead for the 1st down. He gets 12. And so the Irish offense continues to just roll off big chunks of yardage on the ground.
Yeah, and watch the 2 captains. Okay, here's the other captain, the center, Martin. Watch him get up there on the linebacker and stay on him. That's a great job by both the tailback, who's a captain, and Nick Martin, who's a captain. And folks, you can tell why.
Golson on 1st and 10. Out to McDaniel, avoiding some defenders, and then just lowering the head down to the 15-yard line.
I call that the peekaboo screen. That's where a running back just kind of pushes against the defensive lineman and then turns around and looks to get the football. And you can see, I think he's underrated. Everybody, including myself sometimes, just calls him dependable. I don't think that's fair to the kid. I think he's a big-time player. I mentioned earlier, next year in the NFL, he might not get drafted, but because he can do so much, I think he's going to make a roster.
2nd down and 3. Owls come vaulting across the line as flags come in.
Prior to the snap. Snap infraction. Number 72.
That's twice.
Offense.
Yeah.
5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Yep, uncharacteristic.
Yeah.
For Nick, his brother Zach, of course, one of the steadiest Irish offensive linemen in history. In fact, has the Notre Dame record of 52 straight starts before he headed for the NFL. And here is Nick Martin, who had a knee injury in game 12 last year, missed the final couple of games of the season, but back and voted team captain by his teammates. And a couple of miscues there, backs it up on 2nd and 8, and they go to McDaniel.
You know what, Danny, it's interesting. The last time a left tackle started for Notre Dame other than a guy by the name of Zach Martin was October 16th of 2010. So Ronnie Stanley starting today at left tackle is the first time that Zach Martin hasn't since October of 2010. Tells you how good and dependable a player Zach Martin was.
Ronnie Stanley, right tackle all last year, moving over into that big spot. McDaniel is met with force by Zach Pat, who's really had one of the bigger presences on Rice's defense today. And that'll bring up 4th down and 6. And out comes Grinza.
So he missed one earlier, right?
Yep, from 39 yards.
We've talked about, go ahead, Dan.
Nope, go ahead.
Yeah, the special teams has been much better. The punt returns, the kickoff returns, it's been a different pace, a more aggressive Notre Dame special team, but they really need this guy to be consistent. Historically, he's been better from 50 than he's been between 30 and 39.
Yeah, he had 3 50-plus field goals that he made last year. This one from 35, and he gets that one inside the upright. So Notre Dame comes out, makes it 31-10. 4:07 left in the 3rd. Tomorrow morning, the Premier League continues on NBCSN. Liverpool looks to recover from last week's painful defeat when they take on Tottenham at White Hart Lane. That's tomorrow morning at 7:30 Eastern Time on NBCSN. We met with Corey Robinson yesterday, and we were all talking about his new hairstyle, which is very football soccer-ish. In fact, Corey went to Brazil just a few weeks before the World Cup in Brazil earlier this year, and just said he got the idea from some of the guys that were out there, like Neymar, and I guess Mario Balotelli of Liverpool has the same kind of style. You wonder what his dad, the Admiral, would think of that.
I think I'd take that over all kinds of other
Exactly.
youthful endeavors.
So that one goes into the end zone. When we come back, we will continue with Notre Dame football on NBC. The Robinsons in attendance again. Notre Dame has scored 17 unanswered points. The Irish up 31-10, 4:07 left in the 3rd. And here it is, the Wild Owl formation for Rice. Luke Turner, number 35, who we mentioned is very familiar with it, does a number of things out of it, and doesn't really get off the ground in Wild Owl play number 1.
Boy, was that quick by Sheldon Day, who again, since last year, I thought he was the most explosive defensive lineman, even with Tuitt and Nix. You see 91 right here. Watch how quick he is, knifing between 2 players, the strength, the tackle in the backfield. And like I said earlier, when number 35's in the game, there's got to be an alert. And Notre Dame checked out of their defense, got into their Wildcat defense, and stuffed it.
And lost a yard, so it's Wild Owl 1 and out. As Travis Jackson is back in. Right over the middle. And he passes in and out of the arms of Robbie Wells. Had it. And then wasn't able to hang on.
Yeah, you got to catch that football. Wells, the former high school quarterback, like other Owls. David Bailiff told us they love to recruit athletic high school kids and convert them to different positions once they get there.
Have you ever seen a roster with more former high school quarterbacks?
Not since Joe Paterno back in like the 70s.
That's crazy, but the philosophy being, if they're a high school quarterback, we can figure out some place for them to play. 3rd and 11, Jackson scrambling, brought down short of the first down.
Sheldon Day in his zone blitz. Now, this is a 290-pound defensive tackle. He's got running back. He's 30 yards down the field covering a running back at 295 pounds. If I'm Dreyfus Jackson, I might be trying to hang in there and make that play.
So
that two-play sequence of him making the play in the backfield and chasing down 35 yards shows you how explosive and athletic he is.
Well, it's been a much better start to special teams, and they were in punt formation, and it's the fake.
It's Bob.
And it's Bob Luke Turner, who is short, I believe. Needed to get to the 35, and he's short, and Notre Dame will take over.
I thought he had it, and James Anawalu, former wide receiver, now starting outside linebacker, does a heck of a job fronting him up and making the initial contact. Direct snap to 35. Bob takes it up. It looks good right there. There's the initial hit. All his buddies come in, but that's Anawalu squaring up the hit and making the tackle, because it looked good right here.
Yeah, he just needed to just bounce off, but they wrestle into the ground. In the words of Van Gorder, the defensive coordinator, Anawalu is just a football player. It's been an amazing progression from wide receiver to hits like that. And Notre Dame takes over on downs just inside the Rice 35. Up 31-10, trying to add to it, and Koyak can't hang on. And they are excited not only about Koyak, but in general the tight end position behind him, as there's a couple of others behind Koyak who Brian Kelly's excited to have. But Koyak gotta have a little better concentration, huh?
Yeah, inside receiver 3. Golson makes the quick throw, puts it on him. That obviously has to be caught, and I really do believe he's got the ability to become a big tight end, but you can't drop that.
Mentioned earlier, Troy Nicholas going pro is opening the door for Koyak. This is Golson dancing his way out to the sideline, chased out by Jalen Finner. Well, we've been talking a little Notre Dame tight end history, and let's send it down to Catherine with one of the all-time greats here.
That's right, Dan. I'm joined by Tyler Eifert. And Tyler, welcome back to the campus of Notre Dame. Tell me a little bit about what you've seen out of the performance from Everett Golson tonight.
I think he's played an awesome game, kind of extending the plays and, making some of those long throws downfield. But, what's been most impressive is him when he's running around and there's nothing there to get rid of the ball and, live to fight another down.
Is this the Golson you remember from 2 seasons ago?
Yeah, as he has another great throw here. I think you could definitely see he's matured. He understands the offense, and it's been a great first game for him, and look forward to him progressing throughout the season.
All right, Tyler, thanks for joining us. Good luck with the Bengals this season. Dan?
Thanks, Catherine. Good gain there by Amir Carlisle as Golson connects to him for 22 yards, and now it's 1st and 10 just outside the 10 at the 11 of Rice.
Nice to see Carlisle make a play. They've been waiting for that.
Here's Bryant right up the middle, pounding his way down close to the first down. They can get the first down just inside the 1. Gabe Baker on the stop of Bryant.
Now, they're going to roll the pocket left. Right-handed quarterback sets his feet, gets the ball out quickly. Carlisle runs a corner route. And remember, a running back a year ago. He's in the slot. He's explosively quick. Gets in behind the corner. Loose man coverage by Julius White. Good throw and catch.
So 2nd down and 2. You mentioned they can pick up a first down. Inside a minute left here in the 3rd. Notre Dame with already 17 unanswered points, looking to add more. Golson's already been in twice on the ground. Grayson Shantz spreads him out there to the sideline, well short, bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, nice job by Shantz, a kid who added 20 pounds since last year, made a play on the edge. Another third down in the red zone. Been hammering the point that they've got to score touchdowns. Can't switch touchdowns for field goals and win a lot of football games. Today they've been good, mostly because of the legs of Everett Golson.
So the ball at the 4. They can pick up the first. The fake to Bryant. Now Golson looking for a hole. Inching his way in across for his 3rd touchdown of the game.
That is the perfect exclamation point. Greg Bryant went the wrong way. And Everett Golson's looking to fake it to Bryant. Bryant goes to the right. Whoops.
It worked out great.
Grayson Shantz had no idea what was going on.
It was almost like a fake of a fake. Looking for some sort of Statue of Liberty thing there.
Look at that conversation. That's some funny stuff, man.
That's one that worked out. Ooh, Rinza just gets that in to make it 38-10. So now 24 unanswered. Notre Dame on a roll, led by Everett Golson. First action in more than a year and a half has been the absolute key to the Irish, running it up on Rice now, 38-10. Back at Notre Dame Stadium, and the jersey number for Golson says it all. He has been a part of all 5 touchdowns for Notre Dame. 3 on the ground, a couple of long strikes. And with 17 seconds left in the 3rd, and Notre Dame leading 38-10, Rice is now in a deep hole.
You know, you look at this Rice team, 10 wins a year ago. I think they felt like this was an important national exposure for them. Remember last year, Danny, despite the fact that they won 10 games, they got blown out by the 2 SEC teams they played. Texas A&M early and then the bowl game against Mississippi State. So they felt like this was important. I think you're seeing some growing pains with a new quarterback. They've made too many mistakes on the back end. They have an open week and then right back into the fire at Texas A&M.
And how impressive was Texas A&M in the opener over South Carolina? Steve Spurrier the other night.
Johnny Football number 2.
Kenny Football. Yeah, calling him. This is Jackson with a nice run for a first down. Gain of 12 for Dreyfus Jackson.
Jackson's got good feet, and I think he just needs some reps and snaps. And I think once they get into Conference USA play, they're going to be fine. This is a good football team, and I think when they get into the conference, you know, the teams they have to beat are North Texas and Texas San Antonio, but they're going to be in the hunt.
That brings us to the end of the 3rd quarter, and Notre Dame, which was leading just 14-10 earlier in the game, has made it a huge lead here. And it's been all Everett Golson. The end of the 3rd quarter. He's got 3 on the ground, 2 through the air. You're watching Notre Dame football on NBC, and a lot of Golson. As we head to the 4th, it was close all the way into the 2nd quarter when it was 14-10, but 24 unanswered points later. Notre Dame up 38-10 in the opener for both teams in the 2014 season. As we start the 4th with Rice and Jawan Davis, who is met there. Schmidt, the former walk-on in the starting role, really put a hit on him.
I'm telling you, Joe Schmidt comes downhill and he finishes. 6 feet, 235 pounds. Almost went to the Air Force Academy. Watch him. Sees it, comes downhill, finish it. Good job underneath also. I think it was Justin Utopo underneath.
So 2nd down and 10. Jackson bounces off the pads of Darian Pollard.
Another drop. Another drop. And we had a pretty good football game till midway through the 2nd quarter. It's been all Notre Dame since then. Rice has given up some big plays on the back end. A lot of drop passes. Quarterback made a big mistake at the end of the first half, and it adds up to 38-10.
There's the UPS store on 3rd and 10. And Jackson's got more pressure, able to get rid of it. And tight-roping his way down the sidelines is Dillard. as they mark him out of bounds. Yeah, good for the first down, gain of 11.
Yeah, good setup that time. Simonette and Carlson, the center and left guard, get out in front.
Van Gorder
not happy.
A little bit heated.
Yeah, when you lose contain on screen, the coordinator's going to get upset. Carlson, 78 out in front. Corner never gets off his block. That was Cole Loop, doesn't get off his block. Jalen Smith lets him outside. A couple missed tackles. Van Gorder doesn't like that one at all.
Rice now up at the 48. And right up the middle again is Dillard. His brother Jarrett had 60 career touchdown receptions for Rice. That is an NCAA record that he amassed through the 2005-2008 seasons. And I believe Derek came into this game with one or
four combined.
Okay, four combined. And so his brother teased him and said, you only got like, what, 56 in order to catch up to your big brother.
Good luck with that one.
But he was a prolific receiver for Rice. 2nd down and 6. And this one skips in, incomplete to Davis.
And Notre Dame very fortunate. Zone blitz where one of their defensive linemen drops back in coverage. Andrew Trombetti, the true freshman, was late getting out. Quarterback couldn't get it out accurately.
You know, coming into this game, as you look at Van Gorder, I mean, you were at Rice's practice and you saw the different formations, the different kind of looks that offense was capable of giving. And then you saw the new defense here by Van Gorder. I mean, you didn't expect it to be maybe 38-10. Maybe you expected a little bit more efficiency from the Rice offense, Mike?
I think you're looking at a group of 4- and 5-star recruits on one side of the line of scrimmage and 2- and 3-star on the other. So Notre Dame's got an advantage.
Jackson,
another draw,
unable to connect to a streaking Zach Wright. Who has the only touchdown of the game so far by Rice.
Yeah, I mean, this is close. It's pretty good coverage by Shoemate, but they just can't make a play. He's got inside leverage. You got to catch that football. But Dan, to finish your point.
Yeah, because we were looking about all this new play calling by Van Gorder and then guys out of the lineup.
Well, you and I were at practice here on Thursday at Notre Dame. Our concern was we saw several busted assignments on Thursday practice. So this heavy blitz scheme cuts both ways. You make more big plays, but you're more susceptible on the back end.
This is Greg Bryant. Good back.
Might want a fair catch over Gregory.
Heavy traffic. Bryant kind of throwing the dice out there with all this activity around him.
No, put the hand up and catch it.
I'm just going to grab this with a guy right on me and then swarmed by the Owls.
Match their toughness. The tougher team wins. Let that passion out. Every chance you get. We fight, claw, we do whatever's necessary to win the game.
Michigan and Notre Dame for the last scheduled meeting under the lights here at Notre Dame Stadium, and that just is part of a very tough schedule. 6 opponents had double-digit wins last season. 5 of them ranked in the preseason as Tyrone Folston gets the carry here to start things off. Julius White on the stop after a gain of 4, but always entertaining Michigan, Notre Dame.
Yeah, we were at their practice at Michigan in Ann Arbor a few weeks ago. Highly impressed with Devin Gardner, the returning quarterback, dual threat. And don't forget, Doug Nussmeier, former Alabama coordinator, is now the new Michigan offensive coordinator. I saw them physical. I saw them tough. I think we're going to have a great matchup next Saturday night under the lights.
2nd down and 6 after the Folston gain.
Good cut.
Folston just out there for a walk in the park down to the 40.
There were a couple of really impressive cuts there by Folston.
By the way, Michigan opened up their season earlier today with a 52-14 beating of Appalachian State, the team that pulled off one of the biggest shockers in college football history back in 2007. So I think they atoned for that. So the Wolverines will come into Notre Dame Stadium
Yeah, I think that's the
1-0.
weekend the name Armonte Edwards came into our lexicon. The quarterback from Appalachian State who had a big day.
Bolston's worked his way up to 44 yards and more. Well, not much around the left side. Turned in the 6th best total on the ground by a freshman in Notre Dame history last year. Had that big game against Navy, breakout game, 140 yards, where he averaged more than 5 yards a carry.
Ronnie Stanley just drove his guy about 8 yards off the line of scrimmage. This offensive line, coached by Harry Hiestand, who again I think is one of the top offensive line coaches at any level in this country, is going to be a developing group. You lose 2 players to the NFL, that guy right there, Hiestand's going to develop this next group. I think they're going to be just as good by the end of the season.
2nd down and 6. Popping it across midfield after the second effort as Folston picks up another first down, gain of 10. As the rushing attack has kind of gotten more balanced here by Notre Dame between Folston, McDaniel, and Bryant.
Watch right here. This is what it's all about. Nick Martin and the left guard Connor Hanratty double team. They bury him. Hanratty gets out on that linebacker, and that's what I mean with Harry Hiestand. He's a technician. These guys are learning how to play together. They just need more and more snaps, and that's just an outstanding combination block by the center and left guard.
Hanratty, the son of Dad Terry, the quarterback, and part of the Notre Dame national championship team all those years ago. Golson showing some touch to Ben Koyak, the tight end, for another first down.
Koyak 28. Yeah. He was in line this time, I believe, just a little play action, and he beats Jalen Finner. See him in the end of the line of scrimmage, play action. Finner sees the run fake. All it takes is one step to bite up. If that ball's thrown a little bit better, he underthrew that ball. If he throws that a little bit better, Koyak may still be running.
Notre Dame down all of a sudden to the Rice 18. Not much there for Folston. Down to the 15. Well, it's another advantage for Everett Golson, Doug Flutie, to have another excellent tight end Koyak as an option, isn't it?
It really is. Big target down the middle of the field, but what makes it happen is all the running game that's going on right now. They're just hammering the football. The play action becomes easy. Mike Mayock and I were talking about they could just line up and hammer the ball if they want to, but Brian Kelly really wants to be that spread explosive offense.
3 catches for 51 yards for Koyak. And on 2nd and 7, Folston short of the first down. That'll bring up 3rd down, just about at the 12-yard line. Christian Covington, who we haven't called his name a lot of, on the stop. And we mentioned the pretty evenly distributed offense now for Notre Dame. Rushing, where you've got the committee of McDaniel, Folston, and Bryant.
You know, and I think what they're trying to do, and again, it's difficult to make everybody happy when running backs want to touch the football. What Brian Kelly said is we're going to find the hot hand, ride him for a while. Keep in mind, you know, Cam McDaniel's probably the best pass protection guy, catches the ball well, so it'll be different players for different situations.
3rd down and 4. Golson wanted to get out of there in a hurry. And that'll bring up 4th down.
No problem with that. Situational awareness. Even though it's 3rd and 4, you're up. Don't throw the ball away in the red zone. Don't take any crazy chances. Kick a field goal.
Then it'll bring up Kyle Brinza, who in his last game tied an NCAA bowl game record with 5 field goals. Notre Dame playing in the Pinstripe Bowl with a victory over Rutgers. Again, missing from 39 earlier. This is a 29-yarder for Brinza to make it 41-10. No problem. Notre Dame continues its role in the opener of its 2014 season. 7:47 left. It's now 41-10. Notre Dame football is being brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Also by Coca-Cola. Open a Coke and enjoy the game. And by Sprint. Here's a shot inside the Golden Dome on the campus of Notre Dame. Notre Dame band in there. Back here in the new turf field at Notre Dame Stadium. There were a lot of pros and cons about that. Conversation about that, Mike, before it was installed, after it was installed this summer. But they had to resurface this field some 3 times last season. And Brian Kelly was excited to get on this turf. Enables the team to hold as many practices as they want pretty much, regardless of weather, during the course of the season. Maybe we'll expand on that a little bit more as we continue here from Notre Dame Stadium. Irish up big. Let's now take a look at our quarterback comparison, brought to you by the Lincoln Motor Company. Dreyfus Jackson, second career start, and Everett Golson back after more than a year and a half.
Dreyfus Jackson, quick feet, but he needs a lot more snaps. Let's face it, the day has belonged to Everett Golson. His arm, his legs, he's been outstanding.
We might have seen the last of the starting quarterbacks because Tyler Stelling, number 10, is in taking the snap here for Rice as they begin at the 25. He hands off to Jawan Davis. And Stelling is a much different kind of quarterback than Dreyfus Jackson. And there is Malik Zaire, the lefty, looking for his first real action as the backup to Everett Golson.
Yeah, Zaire's kind of the left-handed version of the right-handed Golson. Very athletic, big arm. And I think this kid, Stelling, I saw him at practice earlier this week. Much more accomplished passer. Had a big scrimmage 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, known as a pretty good thrower. Not as mobile as Jackson. He hands off to Jawan Davis. Niles Morgan with the stop as you take a look at Stelling, 6'5", sophomore out of Spring, Texas.
Throws the ball again extremely well.
Redshirted in 2012, played basketball, baseball in high school, all-around athlete.
I think it's really smart by David Bailiff to work the next quarterback in. Give him a taste. You've got an open week next week. You're getting ready for Texas A&M. Get a taste for your second quarterback so he can feel it.
Davis picks up the first down on 3rd and short. And again, a number of the second teamers in there on the Notre Dame defense as well, as we are 6.5 minutes remaining in a 31-point deficit faced by Rice.
Been highly impressed by Notre Dame's front. They lost so much talent. Lewis Nix, Stephon Tuitt to the NFL. I think some of these young guys have stepped up and played extremely well today.
And this is Brandon Hamilton across the 40. Took a look at Notre Dame's upcoming schedule. We take a look at the Rice Owls schedule. And you've got the off week, and then Texas A&M. We throttled them last year in the opener.
You know, you open up at Notre Dame and at A&M, and I guess when you're that lower level Division 1A program, you got to pay the bills. You know, before you head into conference play, and they're going to be competitive in conference play, trust me.
This is Brandon Hamilton again.
You know, there's a widening conversation around the country about college football and the Power 5 conferences and those 65 schools, the quote haves versus the have-nots. David Bailiff knows he's one of the have-nots. He's got to take advantage of that 10-win season and build on it this year.
So a first down and 10 for Tyler Stelling in his first series of the game in relief of Dreyfus Jackson. And the big 6'5" Stelling steps in over the top, and just like that, James Maiden with a score.
Maiden is a true freshman. Play action. Nicky Barati, the backup safety, got beat deep. The Rice people are really excited about this Maiden kid. His father's 6'9", played basketball for Billy Tubbs at Oklahoma. There's the play action. Stelling knew exactly where he wanted to go. He got a one-on-one matchup with Nicky Barati. Maiden made it look easy.
It's what you call a maiden voyage for James, as Hairston comes on to tack on the extra point. Rice makes it a little closer. 41-17. Under 5 left. the next chapter of Notre Dame's football legacy. New year, new field, new uniforms, and like every year, a new team and the freshmen joining this year, a part of the legacy. Notre Dame Reborn coming your way next Saturday at 1:30 on NBC. What are your thoughts on the new turf field, Mike?
I'm a traditionalist, and I love a grass field whenever you can have it. However, the field had gotten so embarrassing, and I'd say alert hands team, by the way, watch the onside, but I just feel like their field had gotten so embarrassing for a big-time program, it had to happen. Plus, I think there's more consistent surface, and I think Brian Kelly and the kind of athlete he's recruiting dictates that they need that.
Yeah, they had to resurface the field 3 times last year, and anytime you get inclement weather, it really chews it up even more. When we come back, the Notre Dame debut of Malik Zaire with Notre Dame up big, 41-17. Now time for the Unlimited Update presented by Sprint, and it was Everett Golson getting the Irish on the board with an 11-yard scamper to make it 7-0 in his return, and he has racked up some big totals, 3 on the ground, 2 through the air. Rice kept it close. In fact, they were within 14-10 in the second quarter, but not only the Notre Dame running backs having a good day, the receivers having a big day. Golson's big arm is connected with them for some huge yardage and some long touchdown passes. And so that's where we stand right now with under 5 minutes left, 41-17. And here he is, Malik Zaire, with his very first play of his college career.
He high-stepped it.
Welcome to Notre Dame, Malik. Yeah, you start off your career at Notre Dame with a 56-yard run. Not bad.
He did a heck of a job on the read. There it is. The cutback all the way across the green. Realized he didn't have the speed. He starts high-stepping it. Right about here. Boom, boom, get off me.
Golson and Zaire were in a pretty good duel for a while for the starting job. In fact, Kelly waited a lot longer than a lot of people thought to finally announce that Golson was his guy, but Zaire very competitive. And Kelly even told us yesterday that, you know what, he just thought that Zaire might have lost the spark when he named Golson the starting quarterback. And he said, listen, Malik, kid, you're one injury away, one play away from getting in there. You've got to focus.
I think it's difficult when you're used to being the guy in high school like Malik Zaire was, to come up here, sit for a year, not play at all, then lose a quarterback competition. I know Doug Flutie went to Boston College, and he was an afterthought. I mean, look at this.
Oh, Bryant up the middle, and he's got the score, loses the ball, but he's in.
Another really good cut by Bryant. You can see that explosion that Tony Alford was talking about. Gets up into the hole, explodes through 2 would-be tacklers, cuts back across the green, makes the safety miss. Gifted at the tailback position, folks.
So it's Zaire who scampers up the sidelines to set it up, and it's Greg Bryant who turns in his first touchdown in a Notre Dame Fighting Irish uniform. Barenza adds the extra point, 48-17. Redshirt freshman quarterback Malik Zaire waited for his moment. And in a lopsided game, very first time he touched the ball, goes up the sidelines to set up the latest score by Notre Dame, and it's Greg Bryant who gets into pay dirt for the very first time as well. Redshirt freshman quarterback Malik Zaire's Notre Dame career after a rousing start. Big, long run down the sideline. 56 yards to set up the Greg Bryant touchdown. And you mentioned the competition that ensued between Golson and Zaire earlier in camp for the starting job. And this was the scene, Golson kind of imitating Zaire going down the sideline. Whoa, it looked like you were running out of steam there. Doug Flutie, you would have made the same kind of run at Boston College in your day, right?
Yeah, I would have stepped out of bounds about 20 yards earlier when the monkey got on my back. But it's amazing how it's a difficult discipline for a backup quarterback to stay into the mix, stay ready, prepare, and be ready to go at a moment's notice.
You know, Doug, I get a little frustrated sometimes with I think it's tough for any position, any player. When you were at Boston College as a freshman, you were kind of an afterthought. You came there as a late scholarship guy. Maybe you're a defensive back. Maybe you're an emergency quarterback. How did you stay ready?
You know, you just watch the other guys. You're watching film in meetings. You're watching the other guys. The only reps you get are scout team. So you're just watching how they execute the plays on film. And when I stepped on the field for the first time at Penn State, I had not run an offensive snap in practice the entire camp. And that's where Malik falls in, is now that Everett was named the starter, you don't get those snaps, so you better be watching film and paying attention and be ready.
And folks, if you're unfamiliar with how Doug Flutie became the starter that he became, we don't have enough time to possibly delve into it. It is an incredible story how Flutie was ready, took advantage of the time when he had his shot.
No. It's all about me hosting.
Oh yeah,
Offense, number 51, 5-yard penalty.
It was all about me on a Sunday when I didn't want any parts of some 5'8" kid that looked like he was 11 years old, taking him and his parents around campus. Right, Dougie?
You got it, Mikey. Oh, I was just, it was amazing. I was just lucky, honestly. I was lucky to get a visit to Boston College. I was a 1-double. I thought I was going to UNH or Maine or maybe an Ivy League school. And then the fifth-year senior takes me around. He was ruining his day.
You know what happened, Dan? It's a great story. His mom is with us. She goes, Mike, that's a beautiful building right there. What building is that? And I looked at it, and I looked at it, and I looked at it. I said, Mrs. Flutie, I'm not really sure. It might be the library.
And she When's the last time you were there?
She looked at me like, my son's not coming here.
Hey, I knew football was important to me. I mean, I wanted the education, but you know what? I didn't care the name of the building anyway.
It's the first time you told me that.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, one Heisman
later and an incredible NFL career as well into his 40s. And here he is, our guy on the sidelines, looking forward to Doug's comments throughout the remainder of the year out there and his perspective. Malik Zaire.
That's a big jolt for that kid when they didn't make a play. I mean, that's a jolt of confidence. And like Doug said, he's one snap away from being the guy. And that snap could come next week at Michigan in a tie game in the fourth quarter. You don't have any control over anything except being ready.
And that was the beauty of the 2012 season for Kelly. I know it was a different kind of quarterback situation as Rice fumbles the football and Notre Dame is able to recover. That is Nicky Barati, who missed all last year with a shoulder, who brings a smile from Brian Van Gorder on the turnover.
Yeah, the key there was the tackle by sophomore Devin Butler. Strips it right there, number 12. Barati alertly sees it. Gets on the football. There's the strip. Free ball. Nicky Barati gets it.
Barati, one of 11 Notre Dame players from the state of Texas, and Brian Van Gorder, who we saw so frustrated earlier in the game. That is light years away from the expression we saw earlier on Van Gorder's face. Again, 2 new coordinators for Brian Kelly. And that was another one of the big question marks coming into this game. And yes, Notre Dame was a 3-touchdown favorite over Rice, and yes, they have pulled away to 48-17. It will be a much different level of talent that we see under the lights here a week from tonight with the Wolverines coming to town.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge game because typically each of their seasons has kind of turned on whether or not they won the Michigan-Notre Dame game. And when Notre Dame went 12-0 that year, it was a big win against Michigan early in the year that kind of catapulted them. Michigan had a tough season that year.
So Golson certainly has gotten off to a great start. He's kind of got this first game out of the way after 600 days without an official game. And now we can just totally focus on Michigan, and Malik Zaire getting some time here as well. And this has just been an incredible rivalry through the years. Two of the most storied programs in all of college football. 11 national championships each. First and third in all-time wins. First and second in win percentage. Michigan, Notre Dame. You don't need to say a lot more other than that. They have had some of the most dramatic finishes to games. Crazy stuff.
Obviously, I'm sad it's the last one for the foreseeable future. Any college football fan is. I think it's a reality of today's college football. Brian Kelly's program is a part-time member in the ACC. They have to play 5 ACC games a year. The Big Ten now has to play 9 in-conference games each year. The combination of the two makes it harder to keep all your traditional rivals.
So that is going to do it. And Brian Kelly goes to 1-0. And Rice 0-1, having lost all 5 meetings in the history of this series with the Fighting Irish. So what will be Notre Dame and Michigan both at 1-0 under the lights here next week. So a tumultuous beginning to the season. The players held out of football-related activities due to the academic investigation. The injury loss of Collinsworth, which of course will still sting this team, but Golson comes out, gains some confidence, and the Irish get a W 48-17. Let's send it down to Catherine with Coach Kelly.
Dan, thank you. Coach, we spoke at the half about the performance of Everett Golson, but did you expect him to be this good this early on in the season?
Well, I was hoping. You know, he's a guy that certainly can make plays. He's athletic. He's got a strong arm. And he's got, you know, a football sense. He loves to play the game. He plays it with a great energy. And he's a playmaker. And obviously in college football today at that position, if you get a playmaker, you got a chance. And obviously he did some really good things today.
With the weather conditions and the rain that constantly kept coming in, how different was it knowing that you had this field turf and how that allowed your offense to perform today?
Well, it allowed us to play fast. And we started to run the football here in the fourth quarter, try to get out of here before any big rains came. But I thought we did some good things in the second half. We let up a touchdown that probably we should have, you know, did a better job there communicating. But all in all, for an opener, didn't turn the football over. Didn't have a lot of costly mistakes. Good start for us.
1 week before you get ready for your next opponent in Michigan, what adjustments does this team need to make?
Yeah, well, you know, obviously from 1 week to the next, there's a lot of things, but it's a good start for our guys. We needed some confidence. I think we got that.
Coach, congratulations. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Catherine.
So the play into the alma mater, corner of the end zone, the student section. Well, there has been a lot of uncertainty around campus with the investigation that has been completed and holding the players out, and still that remains to unfold. And so it was a different kind of feel to begin this 2014 Notre Dame season. So I imagine this is a good moment to soak in for the Irish football players, getting back to football, getting back on the field, not talking about what has happened in the offseason and what might happen. Let's send it back down to Catherine.
All right, Dan, thank you. I'm joined by the star of the game here, Everett Golson. Everett, congratulations, a big victory here this afternoon. 600 days removed from your previous start. How was it out there today?
It was good, man. It was a great, opportunity for us to, just get back out on the field. Great opportunity for me to get back out there with my guys. I really missed it, and I think it showed a little bit today. So, I'm very fortunate for the win.
You worked very hard in the offseason, obviously preparations coming into this game as well, but did you expect it to go this well here today?
I don't think it went too well. It's obvious some things that we have to go back and be a little bit more successful on. But, I was pretty happy with, just the effort that our guys gave. Like I said, it's the first game, so, you're always going to have a little bit of mistakes. I made a couple mistakes on, cadences and things like that. So just, got to go back to the drawing board and, not make those mistakes again.
Red zone efficiency was an area this offense wanted to work on. How did you single-handedly change that in this game today?
I don't know if I single-handedly did. I think it's a combination of me, the O-line doing a great job up front, the wide receivers catching the ball, all day, and our running backs doing a great job. So I think it was a collective effort.
Everett, congratulations on the win. Thanks for joining us.
All right, thank you.
Dan?
Thanks, Catherine. And Mike, I think it's a big day just in the sense that Everett Golson gets this first game out of the way. So really, he doesn't have to continue to talk too much, at least not to the degree that he's talked about the one-year academic suspension. It kind of becomes football again pretty much in its entirety, you would think, down the stretch here.
Yeah, and what's interesting is, our last taste of Everett Golson was 2 years ago. He was a redshirt freshman. He played not to lose. And by the way, he did it pretty well. It was a dominant defense. They rode to a national championship season. Now, I don't see him all last year. Come to practice this summer, sat in on a quarterback meeting. Doug Flutie and I sat in with the quarterbacks, and I came away completely impressed by the difference from the young redshirt freshman 2 years ago to an emerging, mature redshirt junior. You could see it in the interview with Catherine Tappan. Hey, we got a lot to work on. He understands the offense. I thought he was calm. I thought he took his time back there, no panic. Best of all worlds when you get a big arm and great legs like Everett Golson.
Well, he certainly was the highlight reel today as we take a look at all the touchdowns that Everett Golson had a hand in, throwing for 2, getting things started with an 11-yard run. He had 3 on the ground alone.
Yeah, that was the only one that was a planned run. Now you see the play action. Look at the patience. It's a deep route.
Strength of the arm.
Big arm strength.
There to Will Fuller, who is looking to be a deep threat as the season goes on, and then buying some more time here before scrambling his way in for another.
And that's spontaneous, okay? They're dropping 8. He takes advantage and makes them pay.
Real quickness here. Eluding the defender and then just throwing it up, showing that big arm. And C.J. Procise, who dropped one earlier, wasn't about to let that hit the ground.
They had a busted play there. He still makes a touchdown out of it. But on the prior play, you saw him go all the way to his left and throw the ball back about 60 yards across his body. You either wake up with that or you don't.
And again, I know, a lot of Irish fans out there excited. 48-17. Golson's back in the mix and looks very good. But it is Michigan, a much different team coming up a week from today. Well, our guys on the post-game show coming up in just a few minutes, getting ready for that. Liam McHugh, Doug Flutie, Hines Ward and company. So you can get ready for that post-game show on NBC-SN. So, Mike, just some time for some final thoughts as we now gear totally toward the Wolverines coming to town next week.
Special teams vastly improved. Run game excellent. Quarterback gets an A today. I think the one thing they've really got to clean up is the communication on the back end of the defense. Too many busted plays.
All right, so we'll see how it all unfolds. Notre Dame 1-0 with a big victory over Rice. Everett Golson, the big factor in it all. Had a lot of help, but it was the Everett Golson show today. Reminder that for Brian Kelly's full press conference, you can go to NBCSports.com. Then next Saturday, Notre Dame football under the lights. As we mentioned, Michigan comes to town in a game presented by Under Armour. Coverage begins at 6:30 Eastern on NBC-SN. Tonight on NBC, starting at 8 Eastern, Dateline Saturday Night Mystery, followed by Law & Order SVU at 10, 9 Central. Again, stay with us on NBC-SN. It's the Notre Dame post-game show. You can tune into that now for our entire NBC crew. Dan Hicks saying so long from Notre Dame. The Irish win it big, 48-17.